Drivers, start your engines!
Be plenty of carnage, some full head on them, wound up. Yeehaw, boys. Holy.
Hit the junkyard.
Spend too much time hitting people. Chill a second. No gas, gotta hang off here. Don't overdrive. Just let me do my job.
10 times. I don't care if I wreck the whole field. I'm over him. He's just a moron. That was an absolute bull. Not clear. Awesome. I tell you, Mama ain't raised no.
What the f*** are you doing out here? People are saying, just racing like idiots.
I don't care. Just let me drive.
What is he doing?
This is embarrassing. What a clown show.
Did you ever think you would see that?
How the f*** did that just happen? Holy cow! Let's go!
Well, we're not in Kansas anymore, except we actually are headed to Kansas. I saw the chat. I saw those ruby slippers in the pre-race chat, pre-show chat. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric Estep. I am your host this week of NASCAR Weekly Podcast, joined as always by Jarrett Lundberg, the Iceberg, and Danny B, Daniel Baldwin. Good to see you. How are the two of you doing this weekend? Danny, I'm glad you made it home. I was worried your late night Dallas flight could have been perilous. A lot could have gone wrong, but I was happy to see you made it home. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's back in the box, but I got to see you tower 2 feet over me this weekend in person.
Lovely.
I'm doing good.
How about you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good.
Okay.
And I'm just excited, best track on the circuit coming up.
Yeah, go from Bristol, which has historically been one of my favorites, to Kansas, which is quickly becoming a new favorite. We're also joined, as you can see, by Grant, Auto Racing Analytics, as you may know him on social media. Grant, it's great to see you, man. How are you doing this fine evening?
Thank you all for having me back. I appreciate it. I look forward to this every year. It's a great time. Hopefully we can avoid the marathons we've had the last couple times, but we'll see what we can do. Either way, it'll be fun. Going to be sharing all the stats with you guys that I always do. If you want to follow along, again, I'm doing the same thing I always do. If you want to sign up for the website and see the data, support me that I'm going to talk about in the show. I'm going to do a discount. NWP 26 will be the code, and you can just see everything for $1. So go ahead. It's awesome. On there. I meant to get the Xfinity stuff on there for you guys too. But last night my website crashed, and I totally forgot that I was going to be on this show until Eric posted it on Twitter. And I saw that. I'm like, oh no, I got to get everything put together. And of course, when I go to put it all together, everything broke. So I'm going to try and get the Xfinity is what I said, the O'Reilly stuff on the website over the weekend. But Cup's on there for you guys now. And then obviously all the last year, 24, cool. Whatever's all up there too. So, but we're going to do our best to try and predict what's going to happen in the coming weeks. Thanks for having me.
Hey, appreciate you being on. And yeah, I think last year when you were on, it was like our longest episode of the season. So we will limit ourselves tonight. I want to ask you though,
I
Grant,
don't believe you, but that's kind.
We're sticking around the 2 hour 15 window this year, much better than years past.
All right.
Well, I want to ask you, Grant, because a few weeks back, it was early in the season, Corey Day, he was getting into some guys, getting into some stuff. I saw one of your tweets went a little viral, got a little bit of attention because you stuck with him. You said, hey, this guy's talented. I don't know what to tell you. Make him mistake, but he's talented. If you got to see it. And I mean, you got to feel pretty vindicated now. He's finished, I think, top 10 every race since. He's knocking on the door that first win. He's limiting the mistakes. So, I mean, you can take a little victory lap, at least for now, on Corey Day. I think you've been vindicated.
That one was really funny to me because when I tweeted that, I thought nothing of it. I'm like, my live tweets during the race never do anything. I just typed it out. I said something along the lines of like, people are gonna go crazy with the Corey Day hate, but give him time. He's gonna be a top Cup Series prospect. And I opened my phone 20 minutes later, boom. I'm like, oh no. And I didn't even think that was that hot of a take. Like, the guy is incredibly young. I think is 19 or 20.
He just turned 20.
Okay, yeah. He has under 100 asphalt starts. Like, he doesn't know where the corners of the car are. And then I've seen what he's done on dirt. I dabble in a little sprint car racing myself. And looking at and I got made fun of for this because I said looking at his metrics, and that became a meme for like 4 days. And then he started doing good. But looking at his metrics, because I went and looked through myself. I parsed out just his starts, and you can't take it all at face value because he was splitting time between a struggling Spire truck and then the 17 team, which was a cup program that he was getting some odd starts in. Like, it wasn't 100% comparable, but he had top 15 restart numbers, he had top 15 passing numbers and defending numbers. And I'm like, for a guy with under 100 asphalt starts, who's 20 years old, who comes from sprint cars and isn't in the car consistently, I think this is going to pan out all right. And as we stand today, Corey Day, well, he's on that top 10 streak, which I think is really funny given what everybody was saying about him wrecking. He's got the 3rd fastest car on intermediate tracks. He's got the 8th fastest car on short tracks. Those are pretty good numbers. The one that I'm interested in, he has the 3rd best lap time consistency on intermediate tracks.
Interesting.
He's gonna be awfully similar to Kyle Larson, if I had to take a guess. We're not done yet, and I've got plenty of predictions about him later to come in this show. But yeah, I do feel vindicated in that one, and I'm gonna take my victory lap, but I'm gonna hold on to it because I think the victory lap's gonna be way bigger in like October than it is right now. One last thing on that, and then I'll let you guys keep going. I also, because of my talk about Corey Day and Kyle Larson, catch so much stuff about, oh, this guy's like a Hendrick fan or something. Guys, you forget. I spent some time with Legacy Motor Club when they were a Chevy team. I cannot stand Hendrick Motorsports. They are not my squad whatsoever. It just so happens that they have 2 incredibly talented drivers, and I'm a sucker for a good talent. Like, what are you going to say? They're good.
For sure.
Let's get on with the show. Enough from me.
Jeff Gordon, Kyle Larson can't all be wrong. No, I wanted you to have a chance to at least relish in the recent success of Corey Day. But we can get into it because there were some other young drivers making huge moves this past weekend at Bristol. We'll start there. We'll start with Ty Gibbs, 23 years old, making his 131st Cup Series start. Finally, Ty Gibbs is a NASCAR Cup Series winner. Had a great car, top 5 most of the day. Well, if you slow out the gates, got back up into the top 5, was running down Ryan Blaney before that final sequence of cautions. A pit call to stay out when others pit, get that track position, proved to be the turning point. Gibbs gets the win. Jarrett, what does this say? What was your reaction to Ty finally breaking through? Because it was pretty cool to see the whole family, brought to tears practically by that win.
I defer to Danny. He nailed this shit weeks ago.
Yeah,
I'm let him first.
I have somewhat of an idea that my predictions segment this week is going to be all over the board, but I'm really regretting not doubling down on a prediction and just saying that Ty Gibbs would win Bristol because I should have. We saw him lead multiple laps in years past. This is even when in the years he's not been good, this has been his best racetrack and overall in Cup. And then this year the momentum's been there. I mean, outside of Superspeedways, the man has finished in the top 5, and if he didn't, it was 6th. I mean, he's been
better.
He's been right there all season. You know, he's in the same equipment that Denny Hamlin's in, that Chase Briscoe was normally better than this, and Christopher Bell's normally better. And Christopher Bell started off very fast in this race, and it just went downhill from there. It felt like. I know Eric kind of regretted that one a little bit, but I don't know. Ty Gibbs, for what it's worth, whatever the Gabe Hart stuff come out, it's like the Michael Jordan meme, and I took that personally. I mean, it's truly been like that this year. We've literally seen nothing but good results out of him and his team this season, and the kid always had talent. We knew that from his days in the Xfinity Series. There was always some talent there, but it was also one of those things that, for what it's worth, going into the Cup Series after winning the championship and next day losing your father does a lot to a person for sure. And now he's, how many years are we now? 4 years with him or 3? I'm kind of blanking now.
He's in his 4th year now.
Okay. So he's reaching the point where, Chase Elliott started winning year 3. Kyle Larson started winning year 3. We're hitting that point where some of the, even today's better drivers, when they were a younger driver, were hitting the point where they start to show consistency and become winners again. So we may be getting into that period with Ty Gibbs. And I know there's a lot of people who love to hate on the Nepo baby, if you will. But for what it's worth, he's shutting me up because I was starting to give up on him. And then this season, he's really shown what he can do.
Well, and that's what's so needed about this win, like on just the driver's side, but the family side too. I mean, I had said it on Sunday night that, say what you want about the driver. There's plenty of reasons that he's given to dislike him, on that side of it. But when you just take the human factor of it, of like what a big deal this really is, because you have to think at some point, no matter how much, the belief was there before that some of the lows he's had in the last year had to have shaken that kind of belief a little bit, at least maybe him personally, maybe within the company, certainly with Chris Gabehart, that's for sure. But I mean, just the crashing the interview of his grandpa, having his mom ride in the car with him and talk about his dad and how much the team means and everything. Like, just on a human level, like I that's the stuff I love about NASCAR. I just wish that we knew more about Ty Gibbs.
Yeah. Hopefully this is the beginning of Ty being more comfortable and confident to let folks in. But yeah, that was a special moment. Ty Gibbs, to your point about, maybe the confidence was shaken. He was he's already on his 3rd crew chief in the Cup Series, technically, if we include Gabehart. He started with Chris Gale. They brought in Tyler Allen, briefly brought in Chris Gabehart. Now back to Tyler. Like, there was, it was clearly not always working, not progressing the way everyone wanted it to the last few years. And he's been streaky. He's had his good streaks, like when he won the in-season challenge, and then he's had some really bad streaks at times. I think it was the end of 2024, if I recall. He ended the year with like 4 or 5 straight DNFs or something terrible. So he's always been streaky. He's on one of the hottest streaks we've seen anyone go on in recent years right now, and we'll see how long he can ride it. Grant, I want to ask you, do you feel like this is the first of several for Ty this year? Like, he's 4th in points. Like, at this point, if he keeps running something like this the rest of the year, he's a championship contender, whether folks want to admit it or not. Are you ready to say that yet?
We got to pump the brakes a little bit on that one, Eric. That's a little wild.
He's 4th in points.
First of all, I want to commend Danny a little bit, because good pick. And more than that, it wasn't exactly a layup, because the reason it's a good pick, he did have the fastest car at Bristol the last time we visited there. And then his speed has been a lot better this year, obviously. So you had to think that was gonna carry over. But it's not like he was very good on all the other short tracks at the end of the year last year. This team on the short tracks in the second half of 2025 were outside the top 15 for speed. So that was not as easy of a pick as some may now think it is after the fact. That was a pretty good call. As far as Gibbs, in my preseason predictions, I completely wrote him off. I don't even know if I had him in the chase, honestly.
I did not.
I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think I did. Now, that said, I am still a bit concerned about where he is going to go eventually, because the numbers are very confusing. They have not been getting better since his rookie year. If anything, they've been getting a little bit worse. I don't have them all in front of me because I wasn't prepared for the Ty Gibbs segment. But I can tell you that one thing I've noticed with Gibbs is his numbers are exceptionally good when he has a fast car, and when he doesn't, they are not. I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but anecdotally, I've noticed this in the past, and I wonder if there's a bit of a confidence issue there, of just that or some kind of an effort issue of if the car's not there, he's not. And I don't know how you get past that, but that is one thing that I've noticed with him before, and I think that that's part of why we see such a huge jump in performance from him this year. Is they got the cars off to a really hot start, and I mean, all of a sudden he's back. It's like kind of what we expected of him year 2 when he came out of the Xfinity series. O'Reilly series, whatever. Yeah, I'd pump the brakes. I need to see more. We're gonna have to see how the season develops.
Hey, he is streaky. This is a good streak, but maybe it is just that for the time being. I did just ask the chat. We got 83 votes. 51% say no, he is not a legit championship contender this year. 49% said yes, he is. So it's essentially 50-50. This is a debate.
Close.
This is a debate that's going to, if he keeps running well, is going to get it more and more interesting over the coming weeks and
Guys,
months.
he won his first race this year. That's great.
Brad Keselowski burst onto the scene.
Superspeedways, which is, what can some call the flukiest tracks, he's done great.
I'm thinking Casey Kane's maybe best year was one of his first years in Cup. Ryan Newman, it was his second or third year was his best year.
I'm in the pump the brakes crowd, but I'm more that I want to see this over the summer. Because that's when you start seeing the shift of which teams were kind of pretenders early on and which ones are starting to get more serious as it goes. But I will say that the fact that we're now 8 races in and he is 4th in points, which again, it's funny. The top 5 in points are all the winners. It's like nothing changed.
Quick pause. We spent so much time on this the last time I was here. Isn't it fun that the point standings matter now? This is great.
Yeah.
Life is so good. We don't have to have this conversation again. This is great. Anyway,
but
keep going.
But so he's 4th in points. Granted, way behind Tyler Reddick, but that is, I would think, would be kind of an anomaly of a start of a season. We don't see this very often. But 5 top 5s, 6 top 10s in an 8 race span. It's almost as long as the span of time we're using for the championship at the end of the year with the chase. So the fact that they can put together that strong of a run, all strung up, and especially not counting the super speedways, those being the weakest, that does at least give me interest. Like, to me, there's a definitive, like, probably 6 or 7, maybe 8 guys that I would look at as championship guys. Ty is like the first one on the outside for me right now, this far in, just because of how good this team has been. I can't say that I can see it yet, but again, if he's good, like through Chicagoland, Indianapolis, and we're getting there like 4 to 6 races before the chase, I'm like, all right, like we might have a star on our hands here when it comes to at least on the racetrack.
I think that's a reasonable take for now. He is on the fringe of being a title contender, but he's looked really good the last 6 weeks. Jared, if you want to flip the little bottom ticker back to the finishing results from Bristol, I want to run through a few other notable finishers from this race. There we go. Perfect. Ryan Blaney second, Kyle Larson third. Larson and then Blaney in that order led the most laps Sunday afternoon. Larson won both of the stages and actually earned 1 more point on the day than Ryan Blaney did, despite Blaney finishing second. Great run for those two. We saw, Blaney's pit crew, while they didn't have any blow up, loose wheels or anything, lost a few spots here, a few spots there. It ultimately didn't cost him. Ultimately, the race was decided by tires or no tires, track position, no track position, but the pit crew still a concern. Danny, any thoughts on Blaney, Larson, any of these top finishers? Reddick came back to finish 4th. Briscoe, a much needed top 5.
Reddick, for what it's worth, is just continuing to prove why I feel like he is definitely the championship favorite this year. Started second, finished 4th. Pulled that out of his butt. If you look at his history at Bristol, his last finishes before this have been 15th, 18th, 20th, 30th, 15th, 25th, 12th. Got to go all the way back to the 2020 night race where he finished 4th to match. This weekend he matched his best finish at Bristol so far. So Bristol has not been a favorite to Tyler Reddick so far in his career. But this one, starting on the front row, finishing 4th, that's a feel good. It's continuing to cement any season that he has. But of course, Todd Gillen getting 6th is impressive. I just kept seeing him all day long, and that was good to see. Ryan Preece, known to be a short track guy, so good to see him. Carson Hocevar continuing to prove why he's a sleeper guy to make the chase this year. A lot of good things, but ultimately just goes back to Ty Gibbs. It was not. I say it was definitely an earned win because they did fall back a lot. They had to overcome a lot from where they fell. Keep making adjustments, keep making moves, keep passing guys when they could, and ultimately got themselves right where they need to be. So overall, just a not a great attended Bristol race, not a great watched Bristol race, but it was a solid Bristol race. It didn't have the cheese grater tires that we expect that we would want maybe now these days.
Yeah, I'll pause there because I don't want to get to that just yet. I want to still talk about the finishers for a moment. We'll get to the poll in a moment. Jared, and I'll start with you on this. Jared, Hendrick was night and day. Like Kyle Larson leading laps per usual, winning stages up front, top 5. William Byron, meanwhile, had mechanical problems all weekend, started last, essentially finished last. Chase Elliott wasn't very good. Bowman, we never really got a chance to see what Alex could do in his
He might
return.
as well have been out again this week.
He got swept up in a wreck. But what did you make of Larson, Hendrick in particular, Jarrett?
Well, for Larson, I mean, it to me shows he's not as far off as people think he is, which I think I've been banging that drum all last year. Like, he's not winning every race, but like this idea that Kyle Larson has fallen off the map is ludicrous to me. The Byron side of it, I'm not super concerned just because with the next gen, we've seen where guys that should be really good just completely miss a setup. Look at Joey Logano at Darlington a couple weeks back. But it is one of those things where you look at where he's at in the points. We're going to look at that in a bit. And he's in that scrum that's going to be that basically cut line of who's going to be seeded well enough to compete. And I think William Byron can compete for a championship. I honestly think, sorry, Danny, outside of Bowman, any of the Hendrick guys can compete for a championship this year. So I was surprised.
Bowman just wins every race from here on out.
but like I'm not I was surprised, but I'm not worried just yet. If they like are missing the setup every other week like this, like that, yeah, then I'd be worried. But I do want to go back though, and I know I harped on it, I believe the last time we had a cup race. Ryan Blaney's pit crew is going to cost him a championship if they don't get this shit figured out.
It's what the 2311 guys were in the last few years.
Can I cut you off right there for a second?
Go for it.
It's time that this conversation's been had. So I'm gonna be honest, for a while I've been real patient on the Penske pit crew situation because I think the media's made it out to be a bigger deal than it really has. It hasn't been very good, but it hasn't been catastrophic because at least it wasn't like a management issue. It was just their pit crews weren't as good issue. I made a YouTube video a while back about the Trackhouse pit crew situation of why do you have 3 pit crews and your worst pit crew is on the fastest car. All right. You ready for this conversation again?
Yep.
Now Penske's doing the same thing, and I don't understand it. It wasn't the case last year. Last year, all their crews were just mediocre. Now we have, so I measure pit data. I don't really care about plus minus on pit road. The only thing I care about is average of like a handful of best stop times. And I just feed it to you guys and you can use whichever one you want. My favorite is the average of the 10 best pit stops because I just think that gives a good enough room there. Later in the year, as we get more stops, you can start using more to get a better number. But right now I'm using average of 10 best pit stops. Ryan Blaney's crew ranks 22nd in the series, little below mid-pack. Which people have already said this before, so I'm just reiterating Denny Hamlin at this point. It's not that that's atrocious. It's that he's running second with the 22nd best pit crew, and everybody around him has a top 5 pit crew. That's going to be a problem. Here's where the real thing gets confusing, though. I want you to take a guess. If you had to make a wild guess, where do Joey Logano and Austin Cindric's pit crews rank in the average of the 10 best pit stops? Strictly 4-tire pit stops, obviously. I should clarify that. This is best 4-tire pit stops. Where do you think?
I reckon they might be near the top 10, if I had to guess.
I reckon that's a really intelligent guess. Joey Logano's pit crew ranks 12th, but it gets worse. Austin Cindric has the second fastest pit crew per the average of 10 fastest tops. Why? Why do we have a championship level pit crew
on Austin Cindric?
not on your championship car? Like, and what are we doing?
And I'll kind of bring a sports ball reference.
This is worse than what Trackhouse was doing with Chastain, and that's I didn't think that was possible.
Like I said, I'll bring a sports ball reference kind of into this. Like Blaney's team is in win now mode. Like they really are. We hear that a lot in stick and ball sports, but That's where I'm just baffled, is that, like, yeah, I get you want to feel it out and everything, but if we're getting into May and June and things are still not figured out, and Cindric, who is fringe chase contender, even with the second best pit crew under that metric, I just don't understand not trying to swap things up a bit, or if not, like, if it gets late enough into the season, just fully swapping the two, because even if Cindric makes it, he's going to be probably 90 to 100 points back at the points lead going in. It makes no sense to me. And Ryan Blaney, I think, is, at least this year, is showing the best version of Ryan Blaney we've seen yet. And I'm just afraid it's going to get wasted by a bad pit stop at Martinsville or Homestead that completely costs him a championship, because it can be that close. I mean, if he loses, if he finishes one spot, let's say on average, because he can swing either way, but if he finishes at, let's say, one spot lower than he should with a mediocre pit crew or even semi-good one for each chase race, that's 10 points. That's a difference. Now add in stages and stage points they could lose. I want to see the best of the best compete, and I feel like this is just a giant anchor on the 12 team.
I mean,
Yeah.
Jared, I think it's going to be worse than that. I think it's going to be worse than 1 point, because the time difference between Austin Cindric and Ryan Blaney's pit crew is about roughly half a second. And I mean, that's a full position or two. And if you're giving that up every single stop, that gets really bad really quick. Like, I mean, you just can't afford that. That doesn't make any sense to me. If this, the more I talk about this is literally just the Trackhouse situation all over again, except worse, because they have winning race cars as opposed to top 10 race cars. I might have to just make the same video twice.
Well, and your numbers aren't even including the fact that Blaney's team has left, I think, at least 4 loose wheels already.
No,
this
I don't have
season.
that in there at all. That's even worse.
So they like they're slow when they execute, and then the problem is they also don't execute consistently as others. So it's that really paints the picture. At least it shows you that they have some competent folks at Penske. They just may need to do some reshuffling. They swapped out Blaney's front tire changer last year. Remember, it was Skip Flores, and they replaced him with somebody else last year. And I saw Flores was on Stacking Pennies this week saying, "Hey, man, something might need to change." He's kind of like, "Hey, well, what are we doing?"
You know, it's kind of the equivalent of, it's like if you had a quarterback who could win a Super Bowl, but instead you have a mook that calls himself 9 play quarterback instead. Like, that's what it's like to me.
That's a very targeted Jarrett reference right there. Well,
I don't get it.
Blaney, despite the disaster on pit road week in, week out, Ryan Blaney has a win this year. Second at Bristol, is second in points. Kudos to Blaney. We'll take another look at the points in just a moment, but I do want to talk about Kyle Busch for just a moment. It was another not so banner day for Busch, and I do feel bad. I want to start by saying I genuinely, at this point, I think I've felt this way for over a year now, I genuinely feel bad for Kyle Busch fans. Like, this has been a miserable few years. The winless streak is over 100 races now, and things are getting worse. They're not getting better. 25th at one of his best tracks historically. The crew chief is yelling at the spotter and vice versa during green flag racing on Channel 2. Everyone's frustrated. He's wrecking Riley Herbst late in the race. He's beefing with Riley Herbst at Bristol. That is where we've gotten to with Kyle Busch. Who was it? Was it Jarrett? I think Jarrett, with one of his early season bold predictions, came on this show and said, "I'm not sure Kyle Busch makes it to the end of the year with RCR." That may still be a bold take. It's still bold, but goodness gracious, at this point, I think a lot of Busch fans would be happy to be put out of their misery at this point. It's just, what do you guys make of this?
You know, the meme where it's like, you hear the song, "I used to rule the world." That is literally Kyle Busch all season, especially going into Bristol. I have to count the number of times I have been there and seen him win there on 2 hands. Like, it's that many at this point. I have seen that man. He knows that track like the back of his hand. He, as good as Darrell Waltrip was at Bristol back in the day, as good as Rusty Wallace was there back in the day, this is basically his track. It's one of his tracks. And to see him go in there And didn't even look good in the truck race for that matter, you know?
Mm-mm.
Like
he was in contention for the win at the end. He had a
at
issue
the
or
end,
whatever.
but I mean, it felt
That
like
was
he was still
strategy that got him there, though. It
he was
wasn't
still
like he was
struggling
good.
throughout it and throughout majority of it. It's just this is not the Kyle Busch we know, and then and again, I'm like, I don't know what he needs to do because I don't know if it's necessarily going to get better at Spire. I don't know if this late in his career, if it makes sense for Hendrick to even take him. Like, I don't know what you do with a Kyle Busch at this stage because I want him to keep staying in the sport. He is good for the sport because I want to see a day where he does run some races, probably truck races with his son Brexton. But man, it's just getting sad to see Kyle Busch these days. He posted something on Twitter about how many Bristol trophies he had, and I said something along the lines of the kid version of me hated being there and seeing you win these. The 30-year-old version of me just wants to see you do it again.
Well, I mean, with the Kyle Busch part too, about if it can get better, the other part outside of the team, like we have beaten the RCR talking point to death a bit about just how off they are. I mean, I can't remember if it was Napa Racing fan I just put on screen or who it was that said RCR hasn't got a top 10 yet this year. But the other part of it is next year, if he does go elsewhere, Kyle Busch will be entering his age 42 season. So it's not like he's even going to be getting better as a driver. Like he's hit that age cliff can get anywhere in your 40s. Once it's your 40s, like we've seen for these high caliber guys, that it's a roll of the dice. You can be Kevin Harvick and be amazing basically till the end and carry a dying team, or you can be, Jimmy or Junior or Kenseth or whoever, where it's just at some point it's just nosedive, and at some point it's going to be nosedive, and it won't matter if he goes to Spire. All these people like, oh, he's going to go to Hendrick next year. It's like, do you think Hendrick is going to like do much more than like a 1-year stopgap, even if he were to go to the 48? And I don't think he's going to.
At this stage, what would Hendrick be seeing, looking at him in the RCR equipment, say, yeah, that's better than Bowman. That's what I want.
Pity.
No, exactly. And that's the question. Denny Hamlin on his show sort of poured some cold water on the situation and was honest. Like where would Kyle Busch go? That's even a lateral move to what he's doing now. There's openings. He's a big name, sells merchandise, sells some sponsorship. Like there are teams out there that would take a shot at him. But yeah, this idea that Kyle Busch is this top free agent, like he would have been at age 35 in the Gen 6 car, I don't think that image of Kyle Busch still exists. I think with Kyle Busch now, there's risk associated with hiring him because he's going to come in. He has a gravity about him. Everyone knows that's Kyle Busch. He has a way of doing things. You feel obligated to build the team around him. But at age 42 in the next gen car, it just seems like Kyle Busch really isn't that effective anymore. If I can be completely honest, I hate to say, I think at a good team in a comfortable spot, he could be a top 10 driver still. But I kind of agree with Denny. Even in the 48 next year, I think the days of Kyle Busch winning 4 or 5 races and being a late season championship, those days are probably done as long as this car is what it is.
I mean, they are.
So
it's the Gen 7 at least is going to last another 3 or 4 years. So you're telling me that like even if it swings back to his driving style, that a 47, 48-year-old Kyle Busch is going to pull a Mark Martin? Like I don't know. Maybe, but Mark Martin was still competitive even part-time.
At this point, just salvage your career, Kyle. Go get that Truck Series championship that you need to
just get a win.
Career.
Just get
That's
to be
what I was going to
respectable.
say is, guys, so I just looking at my metrics, I'm looking at seven things. I'm looking at intermediate speed, short track speed, restarts, passing, defending, lap time consistency on short tracks and intermediate tracks split. Across those 7 metrics, Austin Dillon ranks higher than Kyle Busch in 6 of them so far this year.
Jesus. That's interesting. Yeah.
And
wow.
I'm afraid I mentioned this in my preseason preview. I'm afraid that we may have found the age cliff on Kyle Busch because I'm not convinced of that, and I really wish that he would go get like a Ram truck ride or something to try and like salvage some publicity and like do something fun. Like, I mean, it'd be really cool to see Busch go win a truck championship. I think that'd be pretty sick. But I'm afraid that the Cup Series winning Kyle Busch is gone, especially when the metrics look like how they do. I don't know why anybody would take a chance on him. Like, he's the 30th best restarter in the series and 25th best passer. Like, there's just
Damn.
not much. There's not much there. I mean, speed wise, I don't know how much you can attribute to the car versus the driver, but like, that's the 25th fastest car in intermediates and the 32nd on short tracks. That's
Yeah.
really bad. So it's like at some point, I just started a research project actually on this for school. I'm looking into my metrics and I'm trying to redefine what the peak age is for drivers specifically in the next gen because David Smith had classified it as age 39.
Yeah.
I think it's a good bit younger than that now in the next gen, both with
Interesting.
the way that driver health is trending and also with the specific skills it takes to drive the next gen car. If I had to estimate it today, I'm thinking closer to 35, 36. So I'm
How old's
afraid we
Joey
may have
Logano
found
now?
it. That's a
I feel
great
like
question. I don't
I feel like
remember.
I feel like Joey is kind of plateaued. I don't. Well, I agree. My eye test kind of
35.
suggests the
Going to be
same.
36 in May.
Yeah.
Well, it's an
So
even year. Maybe some even year magic one last time. No, but it makes what Denny Hamlin's continue to do even more impressive. I'd argue he continues to
absolutely.
be a modern marvel in that
He's
regard.
confusing all of the
Yeah.
observations that I'm trying to make. I'm like, I mean, when he's your gauge of age, it's like I don't know what the peak age is because he doesn't
Mhm.
apply.
I'll end
Anomaly,
this
though.
on a I'll end this on a positive note for Kyle Busch fans, or a hopeful note at some point. Like Grant, you kind of mentioned they're not quite sure how much of it is speed car. I think it's clear that those cars don't have a ton of speed. The other ECR cars like Trackhouse are also struggling. So I think it's definitely a speed deficit that's not on the driver. I'll give KFB fans something to sink their teeth into. It is a rookie crew chief who seems to lose his composure quickly in the heat of the moment. Maybe Kyle really is in a situation and things will get better in due time. I'll give, maybe he is in a really bad spot right now and it's not all on him. I'll give Busch fans some hope there. Hopefully I'm not steering folks astray on that one. Few final thoughts before we wrap up the Cup race. Just overall thoughts on the racing. And I think Danny brought up earlier, he started on this thread, the attendance place looked maybe half full, which, you know, at Bristol, that's at least 60,000 fans, which would sell out a lot of other tracks on the schedule, but it doesn't look great on TV because Bristol is so big, cavernous. It's a coliseum. I thought the racing was okay. I'll say that. It wasn't extreme tire wear. It was actually pretty little tire wear, but we still saw passing. We still saw strategy. I mean, in all the races, track position was more valuable than tires. I mean, that's how the O'Reilly race was won as well. But I was pleasantly surprised by the amount of passing there was. I mean, Christopher Bell in stage one drove from 14th to second, and you know, so there were things happening, things to watch. I thought it was a pretty good race overall. What did you think, Jarrett?
I'd argue, and I'm gonna say now, people are gonna view the night race more than likely way better, and I'd argue it's because of the TV coverage. There was a lot of movement through the pack you would see, except for about the leader and maybe second at different points. But there was passing. There were guys who were good on short runs and long runs. I don't know. It's not necessarily to the level that it was of like 2019 and 20 and 21.
Sure.
But with that being said, this to me felt more like a Gen 6 Bristol race than a next gen Bristol race, which is a massive improvement.
Agree there. Danny, what did you think?
As far as this race goes, I think it felt like a sweet spot to me. I see a lot of people saying their ratings are like 7.5. One person said 8.5. I feel like that's a little strong. 7 feels about right. It definitely made up for, I think, a lackluster overall race with the better run there at the end the third stage. You know, the entertaining aspect of it. There was some passing, but nothing substantial. I feel like we didn't see the tire fall off, which I think has made it very entertaining over the last few years, but that's conditional. It really is. You're only going to get that if the temperatures are like the 60s. I think we've kind of figured that out.
They got to be perfect. And even in the old car, Bristol, like Jarrett mentioned, like 2019, 2020, 2021, for the most part, you're right, except for that all-star race in 2020. That was terrible. Like out of nowhere, randomly.
So
mixed in between all these great Bristol races was a terrible one for no reason at all. So it's just, you never really know what to expect. With
Bristol's not, in the greatest place in terms of how that spring race feels, but at the same time, since the fairgrounds doesn't look like it's in the greatest spot to be a viable option, I think for now Bristol Spring just stays because it's SMI's date to do with what they please, and unless they want to give it to Dover and go up there this time of year, I don't think that it's a viable option for anything else right now.
So here's an interesting thought for you. Are we sure that it's all the car?
Not for Bristol. I think Bristol's been off for a while.
And here's where I'm going with this one. Eric, you bring up that all-star race of that was really bad. Well, my theory is that the reason that all-star race was bad is the small number of cars on the track. And in the next gen era, the field is getting closer than ever before, meaning that lap traffic is not the same beast that it used to be. Like, it takes longer to get to it, and when you do get to it, it's much similar speed to the leader, and then the leaders get stuck in lap traffic as opposed to like catching it weird and having these like odd run-ins and moments. Like, I think that there may actually be some of just the field tightening up that's hurting it. Not to say that we shouldn't fix the tire and we shouldn't fix the car and whatever, and that wouldn't make it better, but like, I wonder if some of it is just a strength of field tightening up situation that's hurting our running into lap traffic that used to create really interesting battles.
That's probably true to some degree. It was interesting. I talked to Tyler.
Though, we should pave it. We should get rid of the concrete. That's
honestly, I think so too.
The progressive banking's also been a factor for a number of years now. But
I'm fine with that. We just got
the concrete.
I like the idea of going back to 36-degree banked corners and asphalt on the track. So I do like that idea.
Might as well. I was going to say Tyler Allen, the crew chief for Ty Gibbs, when I talked to him, and I think Hamlin made this comment as well, but like, the tires would heat up and then under caution, they would cool down enough that even though they're old, like they still had some life in them when they went back to restart. And that's partially what helped Ty hold his track position. So yeah, it's just, maybe the 750 horsepower, that increase, the different aero made a difference. Even though the tires didn't wear, they could still pass. Cars were slipping. We did see a lot of guys twitch, slide. So it was a charming Bristol race. I agree with Jared. It reminded me of some of those decent Gen 6 races. Not the best of the best, but decent. Quick look at the points. Let's just run through this real quick. I'll just go down the line. Right now on our screen, I know our listening audience can't see this, but for our YouTube viewers, I'll go down the line and start with you, Danny. We're looking at the top 12 right here. Who jumps out to you? Anyone jumps out to you? 8 races in?
And outside of Ty Gibbs, because no one saw that one coming at the start of the season, honestly. I think someone that does stand out to me is Joey Logano. I would expect him to be a lot higher than this, honestly. But likewise, I feel like Bubba Wallace is alarming because he was second in the early stages. Now he's been sliding. He's now found himself in 8th. Those are names that really stand out. William Byron is silently in 7th. Yes, he's 7th, but you could have fooled me otherwise. I mean, we're not really seeing him as a favorite week in, week out, it feels like. Those are names that kind of stand out the most to me.
Yeah, I think Bubba cementing himself in 8th this week. Remember, last week he was technically like 11th via tiebreaker. That was big. And Joey Logano actually was lower in the standings after that abysmal Darlington race and is starting to inch his way back forward. Jared, what were you going to say?
Brad Keselowski. There was a lot
11.
of worry before the season about that injury and that how he'd perform with his leg and that he'd get better as the year goes on. Well, if he gets better as the year goes on, 11th in points, he's in that scrum I was talking about before of like 5th to about where Joey is at, which is separated by 46 points. If you go down just from Chase Elliott in 5th to Brad Keselowski, he's 35 points back, which can be made up. I mean, any of those guys from 5th to 12th could realistically be top 5 in points after a week or two at this point. And now we're getting to the section of the season where we kind of know our guys that are going to be in that battle.
Mm-hmm.
Jared, flip it over to the cut line. I want to look a little further back. So Chase Briscoe, top 5, is now only 1 point out, 1 point behind Shane Van Gisbergen. And shout out hosts of our Priest Suarez. They're holding strong for the time being. Grant, I want to ask you, is there a name on this side of the bracket, I guess this part of the list, that jumps out to you that you're surprised by their performance thus far?
Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and reveal my suck pick early for this week.
Sure.
I'm taking Trackhouse as an organization. What is happening?
Yeah,
I
Ross
mean,
21st.
no, this is really bad. Like in my
Or had cursed him on
preseason
his way out the door and look at him in the chase.
in my preseason picks, I really thought that Trackhouse was going to take a step forward this year because I'm like, they have rookie Connor Zilic. How can Chevy not pay attention to them? And I'm afraid I was mistaken. Because on short run speed so far this year, Trackhouse cars rank 14th, 33rd, and 30th. And on long run speed, they rank 17th, 26th, and 27th. That is terrible.
That's not great.
You're not going to get more. I mean, you're going to struggle to get Ross in the playoffs. You're not going to think about getting the other two. I mean, that's terrible. I expect them to be in the same vicinity as RFK. As far as good surprises go, Daniel Suarez. I had completely written him off. Yeah, I could go on a whole rant about that one, but I'll spare you the time. I'm shocked.
Yeah. I mean, it's Ryan Sparks, who's been on that 7 for years with LaJoy. He's been there for good, bad, a lot of mediocre. This is the best that 7 car has looked, I guess, since Spire took it over. I mean, so no, that's good for them. Anything else before we move on?
I will say SVG being +1, which we kind of knew he was going to be around this line just because of we would assume improvements. I feel like at this point with Briscoe having made this up, with Cindric starting to run better, and if Ross can get his act together, to me, I feel like Watkins Glen in a couple of weeks for SVG is a must win. He has to win that race. Absolutely. He has to get the extra points, or and he might they might need to do their best to try and sweep the stages and get the win, because they're probably going to get the fastest lap. Like I feel like they need to max points that, just to build that buffer. And I would argue the same thing with San Diego and Sonoma too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm going to throw one more quick shout out before we leave too. Zane Smith, sneaky, could be a chase contender by the end of the season. Ooh. Right now, that car is top 15 on speed on both intermediates and short tracks. He's looked really solid to start the year, and he looked really good at the end of last year too. I could see him surprising a few people. I don't know if he'll make it, but he might give it a run.
And Allmendinger 20th with no technical support from Chevrolet. Want to give AJ his credit. Speaking of Watkins Glen coming up, circle that one. Let's talk TV ratings real quick before we get off the Cup race. So you may have seen headlines going around today. I saw Awful Announcing, that Twitter account, even tweeted about NASCAR's ratings. That's usually not a good sign. Cup Series at Bristol averaged a 1.09 rating and 1.94 million viewers. They were plus 3% year over year in the rating, but slightly down 5% in actual viewership. Now, keep in mind, both years they went head to head with the final round of the Masters, Rory McIlroy going back to back. So a lot of fans tuning in to see that history. The O'Reilly Series, meanwhile, on Saturday averaged 1.22 million viewers, which was up 22% year over year. I saw the CW noted that they beat the NHL on NBC by over 20% head to head. So the O'Reilly Series, I mean, they're on big network TV, the same station every week. So there's a consistency there that's certainly contributing to their viewership. But I mean, you want to talk about waves, we want to talk about streaks. Their viewership numbers right now are good, whereas the Cup Series seems to be floundering. Any thoughts from the panel here on that before we move on?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest problems is, and it goes past points format changes and even, driver changes or who's up front or when, is NASCAR, especially the Cup Series, in a lot of ways isn't giving people who outside of diehards a reason really to watch. Mm-hmm. And I note this because people were saying that it might not even be a channel problem. Like, cable is more difficult to get numbers on. But FS1, for instance, got 7 million watching for the World Baseball Classic semifinals. Like, if there's a reason to watch, people will. Now, grant the Masters, again, is a huge draw, and it's only been growing, especially among men 18 to 35, which is the base that NASCAR is really trying to build more of. But I mean, it's just in general, it matches with the way the ratings have gone all year for the most part. If they're not up, and one of the ones that was up was the Daytona 500, which was only up because last year's race got a rain delay in the middle of it. They're down anywhere from like 1 to 5% every week. So it's frustrating because we clearly can see with IndyCar and the O'Reilly series what the formula should be. We see it with the NFL. We're seeing it with the MLB in a lot of aspects with their bigger games, with the NBA, with their deal with NBC. We're seeing the formula right in front of us, but the industry needed the money in a lot of ways, and they went after the money. And for the next 5.5 years, they will be paying for it.
Yeah, the TV deal was a short-term win for NASCAR because it allowed them to get those charter deal done. Because it's not just NASCAR, the folks in Daytona Beach wringing their hands like, yes, money. No, the team owners wanted this too. Like every team owner in the Cup Series garage, every charter holder, every track owner, every quote-unquote stakeholder wanted the bag. They wanted those assurances, that security. NASCAR, led at the time, I think, by Steve Phelps, went and got the bag. In fact, if I recall, they were hoping for $1.2 billion annually. They ended up with 1.1. So they thought they'd get more. They didn't quite get all they wanted. They still got the bag. IndyCar gives away their rights for free, essentially. Yeah. F1 for years was giving their rights away for free. So it's just it's short term. You get the money, the sport's funded, but long term, you're probably going to hurt your viewership. You're going to hurt your growth over the next few years. So just is what it is.
I'll add in one other fact about that, and then we can move on. The amount of money that the CW pays for O'Reilly Series races, the whole season, equates to 4 Cup races, because they pay $115 million a year for the O'Reilly Series.
And NASCAR handles all of the production on that, by the way. The CW really just broadcast it.
Whereas the Cup Series is $1.1 billion, which about equates to about 4 races. So even if the CW wants to go all in, they might not have the cash on hand to do so in the future, unless the O'Reilly Series and college football really pay off and they get a lot more money from advertisers.
Eric, I got a question for you that maybe you may know. You said that NASCAR does the production of the CW broadcast. Do they do the Truck Series as well?
No, that I do not know.
No, they don't.
Do they do any of the Cup races?
I don't believe so. Nope. I believe
So that's very interesting because I'm not convinced that the ratings is strictly a channel thing. And I'm not convinced that it's a car problem either. I think it's largely a TV product. When the O'Reilly Series has a phenomenal finish, Exhibit A, Atlanta this year, that booth goes nuts. And not in like a cringy way, but like a way that gets you excited and your heart going too. Mike Joy doesn't do that anymore. I mean, he's not, and Kevin Harvick is he knows a lot, but he's kind of bland. And I don't think Boyer's humor hits the way it used to for some reason.
No,
we got a clean house on that. I don't see it anymore. And I don't think it's also just the channel consistency because the Truck Series ain't drawing those ratings. And I mean, people say a lot of things about the Truck Series broadcast and they're right. I mean, yeah.
No, I think you're onto it. I think it is the TV product is not just what does the racing look like. It's how is it covered? And I think it's safe to say the CW, it's really the booth, the camera direction, all that's pretty similar. CW, I believe, was the first recently to start doing the double box commercials instead of interrupting the race with commercials, which now Fox does double box for Cup as well, which is great. But CW is the first. Their booth is the most enthusiastic and engaged. Mike Joy has a great voice, great historian, but he sounds like he's reading a teleprompter. And Kevin Harvick, I said this in my show today, he speaks in the same tone of voice no matter what is happening on the racetrack. He's just not a TV guy, not at all. He never, in hindsight, why the hell was Kevin Harvick brought on to do TV? At what point in his career did we think, oh yeah, Kevin Harvick, definitely the guy you want in front of the camera, definitely a big media
because Jeff Gordon
guy.
Wanted out.
I think that was it. I think it was just Harvick.
I mean,
and Harvick, he did well in some of his fill-in Xfinity stuff back in the. He did okay, but there was but like Boyer, I get why they tried it. Clint Boyer, I'm like, yeah, I get. They're gonna go for the next DW.
But yet now he has like 2 podcasts and he's a commentator.
This is the sad part, by the way.
Harvick never made
number 1 rated podcast, Danny.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but this
So I heard-
is true. This comment is true. Jackster Fett, who does those like vulgar parody AI voices of them, they have more enthusiasm and energy than the current Fox broadcast does. Like it's sad but true.
No, but I think Grant is onto it. I agree with Grant that it's beyond just what you're seeing on the racetrack. It's how it's covered as well. And right now, I mean, Fox and FS1 for trucks, it's just they're not even close to the level CW and Prime Video and some of the other broadcast teams are. So it's just hopefully that changes. I hate, I'm not trying to retire Mike Joy here, but like, I mean, dude's a legend. He's had a great run. It might be time to try something different.
Look at the bunnies.
We got to move on. We do have to move on. We're not trying to keep Grant here for 3 hours again.
This is my fault at this
yes,
point.
we
I
are.
keep sending you on tangents.
You're good. You're good. Let's get to the poll, the famous Iceberg poll. We had over 10,000 votes this week. Was Bristol a good race? 18% of voters said it was great, actually. 62% said, yeah, it was good. We agree. 15% sat on the fence. And as an average race. Only 5% said it was a bad race, though. So that's an 80% positivity rating. Real quick, Jarrett, where does that rank this Bristol race among previous Iceberg poll Bristol races, if you have that?
I got a couple things. So it's 8th out of 13 Bristol races, 3rd of the 6 next gen polled ones.
That sounds about right.
Doesn't count the Bristol dirt race. I just counted that as its own track. 4th of 9 this year when you include Bowman Gray. And then of short track, 17th of 41 all time since we started polling it. First comments from Akshay Talks, positive, negative, or meme. What are your guys' guesses?
It was definitely a negative comment.
It's a meme.
It's a meme.
Battle of Mid, Kyle Busch versus Riley Herbst.
Yeah, I'll take that as a meme.
That's a meme. I haven't gotten that right at all this year. I'm 0 for a million.
Spencer at the top comment said, at this point, Ryan Blaney's pit crew is becoming a meme of how many spots Blaney loses on pit road each week.
Yeah.
Irving Boy says, we got a Ty Gibbs win before GTA 6. Ian says, that was a great Bristol race, 8 out of 10. Combat Racer says, not a fan of Gibbs, but you can't argue that he's objectively the best driver this season outside of Reddick, obviously. And Cars Boy 95 says, we finally got Gen 6 Bristol back. And now to the gutter.
Yeah. Oh,
from
who's in the gutter?
DJ
Valid.
Midnight. No, DJ Midnight says, this is why NASCAR continues to dig deeper into its own grave. Hard to believe people still watch the WWE on wheels. The scripted sports entertainment circus ain't leaving anytime soon, and racing fans will suffer because of it.
Who in their right mind thinks NASCAR is scripting races for Ty Gibbs, the least media-friendly driver in the NASCAR Cup Series garage with far more haters than fans, let's be real. All right, all right.
I love the unhinged rants of the gutter comments because it's always people, it's either the same people we always see, or it's somebody who obviously has not watched a race in like the last 5 years that just hate watches.
And your poll landed on their like algorithm somehow. And so like, I got to say something. I got to speak to it. Anyway, thank you everyone who voted on the famous Iceberg poll. How's everyone doing tonight? We're nearing the halfway point. Good. I see the chat's been lit up all night. Everyone's chilling. Everyone's having a good time. We got to talk about the O'Reilly and truck races real quick. We'll keep this pretty short. The O'Reilly Series race Saturday. Connor Zilich, Unk still got it. He tweeted after the race, gets the win. Similar method to how Ty was able to get the win. I mean, Zilich, I think, was running second before the final caution, and there was a few cautions late, but they took track position over tires and was able to hold off Kyle Larson. Larson led a bunch of laps, but couldn't get by Zilich. Brent Cruz, though, I want to throw him in there. Brent Cruz briefly had the lead, then slipped, got into the fence, and lost it right back to Zilich and Larson. But that was a heck of a battle. You got to see the present versus the future there. Larson versus Zilich and Cruz. That was a lot of fun. What do you guys think?
Brent Cruz was worth the price of admission. Like that dude is fun to watch drive. But yeah, it's just it's a weekend of heartbreak for Larson fans.
Yeah, man, done in twice, similar style. Brent Cruz, I believe he ended up third, but he was the show for sure. Zilich he talked after the race about how he kind of needed this to rebuild his confidence. I don't know if y'all were all surprised to hear that. I mean, he's only been in Cup for 8 weeks and it's already beaten him down that much that he was starting to let the doubt creep in. I mean, that just shows how hard Sunday racing is.
Also, just goes back to what Grant was saying about Trackhouse Racing.
There's not
That
much to
too.
be happy about there.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that they've already put like 2 job openings for like aerodynamic specialists for Trackhouse. Like they are not
tweeted
content.
that, yeah.
They are not content in any way of continuing to suck. But no, I mean, like I felt like each race kind of got progressively better as the weekend went on. Not like all-time great weekend by any means, but I thought that this race was better. It was better than last year's, and not just because Larson didn't win or yada yada yada, but just because like it did feel more competitive through the field. There was seemingly more passing. It surprises me because I was not expecting that from basically a new Bristol night race. I just didn't think it'd change anything.
It was interesting seeing the O'Reilly cars there at night, but it made for different flavors throughout the weekend, which was nice, enjoyable. We can move on to the truck race real quick. Might have a little more of a debate on this one. Christopher Bell, first off, gets the win. Good for him. I think he said it was his first win since 2017 in the trucks, which is pretty wild. He won a truck championship back in the day with KBM. So back to his old stomping grounds. Wasn't easy though. I mean, he almost lost the truck a few times, had a few near misses, some close calls. But the way Bell got to the lead was Christian Eckes and Corey Heim got together. Corey Heim was close to not only winning his 3rd race in a row, but also sweeping the triple truck challenge and getting a $500,000 bonus. Came up just short though after contact with Christian Eckes. Heim sort of bumped Eckes sort of out of the way, a little Bristol bump and run to get the lead. The very next corner, Eckes, turned left and hooked Heim into the outside wall, collected a few more trucks. It looked real ugly. Both drivers, though, chalked it up to an accident. Eckes apologized and said, hey, I was just trying to slide in and get in line behind Heim and misjudged it. Heim said, hey, I don't think it was on purpose either. I think he was just trying to get behind me to ship me out of the way, which would have been fair. So both drivers wrote it off as, hey, sucks, but that was hard racing. 2 guys going at it, just a mistake. Danny, do you agree that it was just a mistake, or do you think Eckes did something intentionally malicious there?
Christian Eckes doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who would do anything like that. I think for the most part, he's been pretty good. So I'm going to go that as a mistake, honestly.
Jarrett, what about you?
Yeah, I feel like we're going to kind of be parrots on this mistake. It just it looked terrible in the moment. It looked really awful. And even if he was trying to get back at him and it just went terribly wrong kind of thing, like Heim did use him up a couple times too. So it's not like Heim was, necessarily, I don't know if innocent's the right word or what, but I do think it was an accident. And I think that no penalty is the right call now after watching it back. But in the moment and after the race, I was on my stream and I'm like, oh man, that didn't look good. And now like having watched it back a bit more, heard what every party has said. I mean, if everyone's agreeing that was involved, that it wasn't intentional, I don't see pushing the issue on it.
And I think it's Wednesday night now. I believe the penalty report already came out that the cars at the R&D were good. So I don't think there will be any penalty for this, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. Grant, what do you think?
Only the drivers know what happens in those cars. I firmly believe that even no matter what the drivers say, they both know exactly what happened. And I feel like both of their interviews sounded pretty truthful. So it seems like it was just a mistake.
Yeah, I think we all agree. It was less of a debate than I thought. I set this up more dramatically than I should have. Because the chat agrees as well.
We're all really consistent. What else is consistent is the chat making comments about how bad FS1 is.
Oh, yes. They told Chandler Smith after he finished second, I believe, on track that he had won the $50,000 triple truck challenge bonus. But that's not how this works, FS1. It's not how any of this works. You got to win the damn race to be eligible for any of those bonuses. So poor Chandler Smith, man, probably felt like he had the rug pulled out from under him.
Don't blame him.
Might as well have been out there like waving a check. Here it is.
Brutal. Come on, like it's FS1 covers every single truck series race. You guys can't get these things wrong. That's embarrassing.
Before we do move on, I do want to note down on the bottom. Now, granted, I put Heim in there, so it's technically through 7th of the chase grid. Top 7 eligible drivers to make it in are within 27 points of each other, 6 races in. We are now a third of the way through the truck regular season. I mean, that is,
That's true.
I have a feeling I would think maybe like Chandler Smith, Honeycutt, Lane Riggs gets better as the year goes on. Like some people are going to distance themselves, but you keep that close together. The truck chase is going to be just basically throw a blanket on them and see where they end up. Like roll the dice and see.
This is going to be really fun in, July and August, getting towards the end of the regular season. Because for our listening audience, Chandler Smith now leads the points. 1 point back is Caden Honeycutt, and only 4 points back is Lane Riggs. So those three are separated by marginal differences on the racetrack. Go ahead, Grant.
One thing that's really going to suck about this is when we get to the chase and the points actually get further apart. All of a sudden, seventh place is not going to be very close anymore. Like we're going to cut this thing down to a four truck competition. But
the gap to seventh is about the gap first and second will have.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Well, that's why I say July and August will be really exciting, because that could really make a difference. Winning the regular season championship by 2 points is actually a 25-point gap when they reset. So that'll do it for Bristol, folks. I think we finally wrapped up the world's fastest half mile. We'll see him again in September, I suppose. Let's do our first super chat stage break. How's that sound? Really appreciate everyone showing up tonight, hanging out. We got a lot of super chats early in the show. We're going to bang through a few right here before we get into our next segments. We'll start with Hunter Nixon Fishing. Says, was this the best Bristol race ever? No, but I will die on this hill. Bristol is still better than Martinsville and always has been, next gen or not. I mean, I don't hate to take a shot against Martinsville. I know, Jarrett, that's your baby. I would agree. I've always preferred Bristol to Martinsville. Joshua Boston sent a few right here. I'll just read through them. It says, I predict Larson will finally break his winless streak at Kansas. If there's anything negative to say from this weekend, it's that he didn't win and Ty Gibbs did. So big Larson fan, disappointed with the result. Also said, I think we struck a pretty good balance of what Bristol should be. I think most of us agree there. It'd be nice to see a little more tire wear, but at least they got heat in them, and that made some sort of difference. Then says, finally, do we see a driver swap with Kyle Busch in RCR? If so, where does he go? Who would replace him in the 8? It's complicated. I mean, I don't know, because the last time we saw a trade midseason was with our Rick Ware Racing and Spire, Rick Ware Racing and Spire. And that was because, I don't know, LaJoy, Haley, I feel like they were mutually beneficial to their respective new teams. I don't know, like Kyle Busch is such a commanding force. Like think about, like, if you're going to trade prime LeBron James, how on earth are you going to get enough assets back in return that it makes that trade feel even? You know what I mean? Maybe that's, I guess I just compared, washed Kyle Busch to prime LeBron James. That's probably not accurate, but anyway, sorry, moving on. Joshua also says, P.S. Hendrick engines need to be the only engine supplied to the Chevys. ECR may be cheaper, but they're slower and unreliable. I mean, there might be something there. The ECR cars do seem slower than the Hendrick cars. Justin Drake says, we will try to limit it tonight as far as the length of the show. And then says, is that a challenge? Yeah, we'll see. We're going to do our best. Calypso says, hey, Grant, what are the odds my sons from hell, Joey and Cody Ware, get their first wins this season? Mwahahaha. What do you think?
Cody Ware's a 0.
Fair enough.
Joey Logano, 50-50.
Either he will or he won't. I like it.
We're going to come back to that clip if Cody Ware looks out on Talladega or something like that.
Below the Apron with a 10 says, if Kyle Busch re-signs with RCR, which seems highly likely, I don't know if I agree with that. Maybe. What does Jesse Love do? I can see him in the next year or two wanting to join his friend Connor in Cup. I mean, I think Jesse, I talked to him briefly at Daytona. He said, hey, the plan is to go. I asked him, hey, you're going to be in the, I was at Daytona. I was asking him, are you going to be in this race next year? And he said, that's the plan. So he wants to be in the Cup Series. He feels ready.
I think if he does go to RCR, he's like a Tyler Reddick. He's too good for them. It's like a stepping stone.
Could be. I know there were early on, people were trying to link him to Legacy, but I think, there's a chance. You never know, but just we'll see.
Work on his timing.
I'm going to be interested. When the silly season dominoes start falling, they're going to fall fast. And the question is, who falls first? That's the real question. Jay, appreciate the 5. This season has not only been dominated by Toyota, but also drivers who combine the 4 and 5 and are or were monster sponsored. That's true. 54-45. They've been rock stars this year.
Looks like Reddick may have another energy drink coming here soon.
Yeah, that was a play on words I was attempting there. With the anyway, Justin Drake. I'll do a few more here. Justin Drake says, "Can Chase Briscoe get his car back now that Ty Gibbs won?" Goal achieved, Grandpa Joe. Ty won a race. Hang the banner. At least Golden Boy Elliott caused overtime, so he actually had to earn that instead of a cheap steal. I mean, even if they don't get overtime, he was wheeling that thing to keep Blaney Larson and Reddick behind him. Gavin Adcock, off topic. I miss rain racing in NASCAR road courses. I watched the 2020 O'Reilly Roval race, and it was awesome. That was a little far. That was a little much. Yeah. They were racing through like 6-inch puddles.
Everyone was just over in 2020 at that point, honestly.
Yeah. I remember sitting at my then girlfriend, now wife, Rissa's house, and we just drank beer and laughed our asses off that entire race. It was hilarious in the worst way.
Irvin Alvarado says Suarez finishing well over Trackhouse thus far. Maybe it's not him. Maybe it's the organization itself. Either way, the battle continues. Yeah. Calypso says, careful, NWP. I'm the manager of the 12th pit crew. I don't know how Calypso would impact that. And then Justin Drake says, Blaney's pit crew's been studying the Yankees' 5th inning Game 5 tapes from the 2024 World Series. We'll wrap up with this one because it fits. 98 Doom says the 12th pit crew is the 2025 Chargers offensive line.
F you, Spanos.
So I like this. We'll end with this, actually. Ryan Idia says, my theory is the loss of practice post-COVID is the main reason Kyle Busch fell off a cliff around that time. I think there could be something there. He always wanted, he liked seat time, I guess, and doesn't get quite as much of it nowadays. That was our first Super Chat stage break. Appreciate y'all sending those in. If we didn't get to your Super Chat yet, we will get to it at the end of the show. Please stay tuned. Really appreciate your support. Before we get to some reckless speculation, a few headlines, and the fun segments, Jared, I sent something in the air tonight.
I do too. What would it be?
It's a chill, if you will. It's time for the NWP lightning round. Dang it, that always goes away so fast. I'm still making goofy faces. It's the lightning round. Jarrett, what do we got?
It's literally as fast as lightning.
Well, first, of course, is the NWP Clips channel. We'll share each episode on there. Maybe do some fun stuff every now and then. I know we have the entire 16-minute segment of the NWP Wives hijacking the show on there this past week. So if you missed that, definitely check it out. We're like, I think 81 away from a 1K. Fan vote is now open for both the All-Star race and for the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So if you want your voice to be heard, or at least the feeling of it being heard, go for it. The Talladega stages will be 98, 45, 45. So that's the official change when it comes to how long those stages will be. And then next week, shows on my channel, April 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So should be pretty good time. And yeah, it felt a little bit in the air, but that was just a short lightning round. So
Flash
now I guess,
if you will.
Guess
it's time for the headlines. Let's do it. Headlines, more like some rumors, some speculation. So you just mentioned the Talladega stage lengths changing. We also learned recently that a form of preseason thunder is coming back next year. It sounds like testing, changing up the cars, perhaps before the Daytona 500. Bozy Tatarevich mentioned that he's heard there's a chance the Clash could return to Daytona. That was backed up seemingly by NASCAR president Steve O'Donnell, who also alluded to that being a possibility on DBC. Chris Myers of Fox Sports tweeted that maybe a Monday night Clash at Daytona could be on the docket. Just hypothetically, Monday night Clash, let's assume it's the Monday night after the Super Bowl, so the week of the Daytona 500. Let's just assume it's February. That'd be like February 15th or something next year. How do you feel about that, Jarrett?
Okay, I feel a little bit better if it's on Big Fox, and here's why. I still think that midweek racing can work if it's on network television. I think that putting it on cable is a death sentence because, nobody listens to techno. No one cares about cable anymore. But the other part of that is that it is President's Day. Because
it's a holiday for a lot of people.
It's a holiday. A lot of people might have that time off. I am of the idea of this too, is that the Clash needs to be more of a piece and a stepping stone rather than everyone wanting to make it a giant thing just on its own. Like if it is, it's awesome. But to me, we've really gotten to the point where the buildup for the Daytona 500 just is not fitting enough for it. You know, you have 2 weeks that you build up a million things in the media for the Super Bowl. You have build up for the World Series, plus it takes time. You know, like big sporting events, the month of May for the Indy 500.
Sure. Yeah, they get a whole
If
month.
we can get at least speed week or weeks, if we have maybe a practice session on Saturday for the Clash, just to spread it out a little bit more. So if it can be on Big Fox, maybe you use it as that test session. Or if they find something in the test session in January, make that your big start and hype up for Daytona, for the Daytona 500. Carry that momentum, because right now it doesn't matter if you go to LA and get 5 million people to watch the Clash. No one's going to remember after the Super Bowl a week later, and then a week later to Daytona.
I do think having 2 weeks between the Clash and Daytona does little to nothing to promote the Daytona 500. My take with the Clash is it either needs to be a big spectacle that boosts the sport into markets, into a mainstream conversation it doesn't typically get to be a part of, or it needs to, what you said, support the Daytona 500. Now, I would have been more anti Clash at Daytona until I heard about preseason thunder and testing, and they might change the aero and horsepower. So if they make the racing at Daytona a little better, I'm happy to see the Clash return, especially if it's like a Monday night prime time slot on President's Day. That sounds kind of appealing to me. So I'm all ears. I hope it does well. If they do this, could be fun. What do you think, Grant or Danny? Go ahead, Danny.
I was going to say my ideal scenario for this would be try to make it, a little bit of weekend deal. Also on Saturday, before the Super Bowl, you can, if we want to give them some Clash practice, go ahead and send them out there. But if we're going back to Daytona, I feel like how we set the field's got to go back to being like your pole winners and your race winners and people who are in a chase. I think that's the field that you get. There's no need to do heats at Daytona. That just sounds like a bad idea. Go back to doing it like that. Run some practice on Saturday, but then even if it's just something that NASCAR's got to stream online or something like that. What was the Clash sponsored by this year? Cookout, is that what it was this year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, traditionally, when it's been at Daytona, we've had Budweiser or Busch. Busch is an active, big sponsor with NASCAR right now. Try to get them back involved in it, the Busch Clash. My favorite style of determining the starting lineup for these races,
I know where you're going. I love it.
Was when they came up and pulled out a Budweiser bottle, and whatever number they got in the bottom of it, that's where they're starting. Do it that way. Do it up on the big fan stage they have outside of Daytona or in the infield, wherever they want to get set up. Just do like a good hour and a half stream on YouTube. It would get me hyped up enough to tune into it on the Saturday before the Super Bowl. Bottle, can, whatever they need to do, and just draw out their beer starting lineup.
Or if you do
like
cookout, you have a chicken box and you open it up to find out you're starting. Something cool. Just do something cool either way.
Pull out a drumstick, take a bite, and it's inside the chicken is the number. Choking hazard, maybe.
I mean, I would love if Busch
Open
did it
up your
and they do the
burger
bottle.
and the ketchup is in the shape of your number.
If they could make that work, that'd actually be pretty fun. Oh my God. Napa Racing fan just made me realize, no. Oh,
that's funny.
Daytona 500 might have better production than the Super Bowl next year.
But if Fox was hosting the Super Bowl, then I would about say something like, hey, why don't we set up a stage outside the Super Bowl, and before that, just host set the Clash lineup or something like that. But then they got to get them guys back to Daytona. So
yeah, that'd be tough.
Maybe a year that it's in Tampa or something.
Ooh, yeah, just down the road. Yeah, I'd like that. Grant,
we're getting ideas.
What's your idea for the Clash? How do you feel about this possibility?
My ideas for the Clash are pretty small. Bring the identity back. It was always meant to be a promotion for the 500, and it's supposed to be pole winners, period. End of story. Pole winners,
keep it simple.
The 500. But honestly, I don't think any of that matters. I think the important part is, personally, I think part of the reason that the Daytona 500 has lost some of its prestige isn't just that the racing isn't great, but it's actually that the racing isn't great and it's random. Like our recent 500
Yeah.
winners are wacky. I want to feel like super speedway racing at Daytona. I want to feel like the guy who wins Daytona had to earn it, and it was really freaking hard. I want those cars fully out of control. Like I think that like I mean the Indy 500 like the draft is a big deal, but like it's hard to drive an Indy car around Indianapolis in the draft. It's less hard by yourself, but it's hard in the draft. And I think that Daytona should behave somewhat similarly to that if we want to bring back the prestige.
I agree. Make it look like Atlanta does now, and that's obviously
Absolutely.
easier said than done.
Maybe
but that should
spread
be
it
the
out a
goal.
little bit even more. You know, if it gets a
Yeah.
little harder, that's
So
okay. But
2000, say 2002, 2001 to 2009 Daytona,
no,
basically.
no, that's crazy.
I mean, that they
No,
could do
it got
something like that.
those summer races got spread out a bit.
No, I
Like-
100% agree.
I'd be
Yeah.
a-okay. I mean, that's it. That's what Atlanta feels like to me. But there's more super speedway stuff we should probably talk about.
Yeah, we'll keep these next couple of topics a bit quicker. O'Donnell also suggested, Steve O'Donnell, NASCAR president, he's got that new title now, so I need to like fully remind folks, suggested that NASCAR could consider mandatory 4-tire pit stops while fueling at Daytona and Talladega in the future to mitigate the need to conserve fuel in the pack. I mean, we can keep this quick. I don't know. I feel like you fix the fuel saving issue. You're going to go back to stretches where it's single file. Like at the end of the day, they just need to make the racing at the super speedways better. They need to do stuff to the cars, the aero, the tires, whatever, to like what we just said, build more gaps in the pack, allow drivers to build their own runs. Because otherwise, like if they're just gonna be 2x2 gridlock or single file, I don't really want to watch that either. I'd rather them say fuel 3 wide.
This feels
So-
like break glass in case of emergency. Like if all else fails and we can't find a damn thing with this FUBAR car, then do this. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah. So we'll see. I wanted to bring that up at least. This one might be a little more interesting. Jimmy Johnson, we're switching gears here. Jimmy Johnson posted a photo on Instagram this weekend. Jimmy, owner, well, he's majority owner now of Legacy Motor Club. The first photo of this post was him and Harrison Burton. And I saw a lot of folks were like, whoa, Jimmy and Harrison Burton. Like the second photo was Nemechek, third photo was Jones. It's like, oh, is Harrison part of the team? Is he alluding to Harrison Burton being Legacy's third full-time driver next year? Legacy's got a third charter. They're planning to use it. Is Harrison Burton going to Legacy? That was the chatter on the internet. Harrison Burton is connected to Legacy Motor Club. He is their reserve driver. I believe that was announced sort of quietly at the start of the season. I went back and found a Bob Pockrass tweet from like week 2 that indicated Burton is in that role. So there is a connection there. We know Harrison rejoined Toyota this year in the O'Reilly Series driving for Sam Hunt. Danny, it's obviously speculation at this point, but would Harrison Burton to Legacy Motor Club make sense to you next year?
I mean, is he also like their simulator driver? I'm assuming too, or something like that along those lines. I'm assuming.
Probably, I guess. Yeah.
So, I mean, would it make sense? Yeah, he has cup experience, but at the same time, I don't know if going back is going to be good because it's kind of like Cole Custer. You know, we saw Cole Custer come in, went that back down to Xfinity, and it's like, oh yeah, there he goes again. He's doing it. And it's like comes back. I don't know about. I'm really worried Harrison Burton's going to get himself in like a Cole Custer situation where it's like, yeah, get back, and I don't know about that, you know. But hey, to their credit, they both have a win in Cup Series. So I mean, who am I to argue about either of those guys? You know, I don't know. I also seen randomly just yesterday, just keeping on Burton's Jeff Burton and post a picture. He went to the Charlotte Hornets game with Harrison Burton, and I'm assuming I think that's Harrison's wife, girlfriend. I'm not exactly sure on his relationship situation, but
yeah, I think
But I'm wondering now, it's like, were they just out to the game, or is that like celebrating, you know, a little bit of something they know up their sleeves a little bit? I don't know, just out to celebrate at the basketball game.
It was the play-in game. That was a big game, crazy game. Went down to the wire. Happy for all the Hornets fans watching out there.
I'm not enough a basketball fan to know what the current situation is. So.
It was ugly early, but there was a questionable play that injured one of the Heat's star players. But I was rooting for Charlotte down the stretch, and they did get the win. That was big. Needed that. Jarrett, I'll go to you next, Harrison Burton. If he does go to Legacy, because I think it's very realistic. I don't think this is a guarantee, a lock or anything, but I think it's very realistic he could go to Legacy. How would you feel about that move?
I feel like this is the safe option. You know, sponsorship would be built in. You have Cup experience already. Like, you know, you got somebody that can at least hold his own and maybe just needs that second chance compared to the other two that we had heard. Where I think Jesse Love is the one that would be the higher ceiling for sure. But again, with the equipment, how high is that ceiling? And then Riley Herbst brings in sponsorship, but we clearly know even with what is some of the best equipment in NASCAR right now, is like a ceiling of 15th. Maybe can run top 10 every now and then. So this feels like a safe option. I don't know necessarily if it's like a smart long-term play or if it's just get the sponsor money.
Grant, what do you think about this? Because I know you know some of the folks at Legacy. I know it's been a couple of years, but what would your take on this be?
I was really excited about the Jesse Love thing, Eric. I really, here's where I'm at with it. I'm growing really frustrated with Cup Series management and their choices of young drivers sometimes, because all due respect to Harrison Burton, we've kind of already done this experiment. Like we kind of already tried this. It just kind of went okay. And it's no disrespect to him, but there's a lot of guys down there that are really good that haven't gotten shot yet. And I'd really like to see one of them instead. Like I planned on making a prospect list this year and I haven't done it yet, but he doesn't make the top 10. Like there's just not much excitement there. Like off the top of my head, like Corey Day, Chandler Smith, Lane Riggs, Corey Heim, like there's four guys that we know. Christian Eckes. I mean, Jesse Love, I think, is the top prospect, excluding Heim. And I completely forgot to mention him. Like, there's just a lot of guys. I'm missing like double that. Like, there's just a lot of guys that I think could potentially go into that seat that would be really interesting to at least try. But instead, we're just going to kind of do another thing we've already seen.
Yeah, there's not a lot of juice behind
No.
this pick. But then the question becomes, this is Legacy Motor Club. They got better last year. So far this season, I haven't seen a big step. Jones, I don't know what your underlying data might suggest, but Eric Jones has looked a little sportier this year. He got wrecked at Bristol. That was a tough deal. Got caught up in a wreck, I should say, at Bristol. But like Legacy, it still looks like they're mid-20s in the points, most likely. So if you're a Jesse Love, do you take that or do you continue to survey the landscape? Can you get a better option elsewhere? Do you have to wait a year? Like that's the thing, is it gets to a point where it's like, we're not talking about, a Hendrick car or a Gibbs car. We're talking about probably a 20 to 25th place car on an average day. And so, the Jesse Love, Jesse Love might be too good for that. Same with Corey Heim, for example, but I don't know.
And I think Jesse Love probably is too good for that. But what seats are available to him? He's stuck in the RCR pipeline. You don't want to go to RCR. That's not an option. Don't go there. So if you don't do that, then what are you going to do? Are you going to wait for Ram to open their Cup team eventually? That doesn't seem like a great option because that's going to be a disaster to get started, if I had to guess. Do you want to test the waters of Spire if you could even get in there? But if you could get in there, you probably get one shot.
Yeah, that's true.
You're probably not getting that Hendrick car. That's too highly a contested seat. I mean, there just aren't very many options. And I think that Legacy, it's at least like they seem to have some potential and momentum and they might go places someday. And even if they don't, if you can just beat the other two guys and consistently look really good, you might get another shot someday because Nemechek and Jones are not slouches. Those are two quality drivers. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables still, but I'm with you. Harrison Burton, if he goes to Legacy, makes sense. Everything about it makes sense on paper, but there's not a lot of juice behind it. So we'll see. Like we said earlier, there's going to be dominoes that need to fall. Don't know what'll fall first, but we'll have to wait and see. Jared, I'm going to refer to you on this next one, let you kind of go off for a minute on you put in our itinerary, and I've seen the banter on socials. I don't know what the latest news is, but that's why I want to turn things over to you. What's going on with Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway? I know you and
What isn't?
Danny, you're our Nashville locals. We got some Nashville locals watching every week. So what's going on with one of NASCAR's most historic tracks? I saw Dale Jr. ran 12th, 11th.
So there's a lot that's been actually going on about that one, and there's some backstory I can give, and plus I even have a little personal side of some stuff going on, and I'm willing to talk about. So Steve O'Donnell was on DBC and did say that they have weekly meetings about the fairgrounds. It is always brought up. The France family is heavily in, I don't know if involved, but very interested in what's going on there. Dale Jr. has said as much that the push for the fairgrounds with Marcus Smith especially is still heavily on. It is not dead. So that's another part of it. The Cars Tour was a huge success. Now the number going around is 12K. The number I heard was 13.2K, which is about where the SRX race was. I get the Dale Jr. factor, but the SRX, when it came to town with the Elliots, was a huge freaking deal. So to be around that level, traffic, from what I heard from a few people I know, was actually pretty good. They got the traffic flow down. Now, granted, if it were a NASCAR race, it'd be probably 3 times that crowd. Here's the interesting part, though, that I had heard. I had heard from a few people on this that apparently before the last mayor got voted out, that they were actually like right there on the deal. They just ran out of time basically. And that it's kind of still right there, and that the higher up politicians have interest in it. It's just more the worry back and forth. There's been the opposition kind of pushing back, large and small. And they're just really fun cannon fodder on social media. Like if you want to just like pile on people, they have some of the dumbest comebacks for it. Heck, I told you guys, I even got hit with a false copyright claim on one of my streams when I talked about it by the MLS, which makes me think that we might be getting a little more on the inroads behind the scenes than many may think. Now that also got resolved very quickly. But there's a lot more going on with this racetrack than the public knows and that reporters are willing to say yet. I'll just say that much. I don't know how much I necessarily can say of what I know. I know it's not necessarily close by any means. It needs a lot of TLC, and it needs to be expanded. Yeah. But it needs a lot. It'll need a lot of expansion and such. I'll say this too. It is not anywhere close to even truck ready. If they got everything done, and I've said this all week, last week, if they got everything done in this moment, that whoever is listening or watching sees or hears this, that it'd be 2 or 3 years before the trucks would be on track, let alone Cup. But
do they have safer barriers there? Can you remind?
I don't. They do not.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah, that'll take a minute.
It needs safer barriers. They have, of course, they've got Jodas Park right behind it. They've got that apartment complex that's right behind it.
Right behind it too. Last time I was there, last time I was there was the first time I saw it.
That could help. It actually has been found that it actually is working as a sound barrier for the track. So it's actually helping our case, and they have it written into so I looked into all this stuff. It's written into their lease agreements that they have to understand there's racing there and can't make a big fuss about it. So
that's just something, going into it. Hey, I'm getting an apartment right by a racetrack. I need to be aware of that. And it's right by a soccer stadium. You're by 2 loud things. You need to. The soccer stadium is just on a home game. I haven't had a chance to go to Nashville one yet, but from what I know, it can be just as loud as a race when they really get going with the crowd over there at those games. But all I was really trying to say is they've also built. I see a garage there, which I'm assuming is probably a lot. It's for the 445 Park Commons. It's for people who live in those apartments there. But it would really help if they could build another parking garage just kind of in that area. One, just for soccer games, but 2, it could benefit the racetrack as well. The only thing that this track doesn't have room for, and it really sucks if they ever bring NASCAR, there's no room for a fan zone. There just really is not at the National Fairgrounds Speedway. So if they ever did get NASCAR back there in some capacity, if they want to do any kind of fan zone experience, it likely has to be away from the track, most likely.
Fan zone on Broadway.
Or maybe they could do like sort of an open area, maybe if they built up the stands or something. But yeah, it does seem impossible for sure on that. There's some things working against it. I will definitely say that the interesting part is that everything surrounding it leads back to one person. I believe it's John Ingram, who owns the Nashville soccer team. And what's interesting about him is that the Ingram family has a lot of ties to Vanderbilt. Now I'm going to tie this all in. Like they donated like 20 million to them. He donated 10 million and they write puff pieces and all this. Well, the leading poll that is used by anti-fairgrounds people to tear down the racetrack is from Vanderbilt and from the areas that the money that has been donated has went to, including one of the lead people against it. I can't remember the girl's name, but I mean, it's fitting the name that everyone sees, the care people, because it's a Karen, is also from Vanderbilt on that side of it. So it's like it's very interesting to see how it's one person leading the way, and he's also withholding funds for affordable housing until the fairground stuff goes his way.
Am I making something up, or did I see something that someone had tracked down one of the people who was allegedly involved in one of these accounts that you're seeing online, raising all the fuss about this, that actually doesn't even live in the Nashville area anymore?
Yeah, they admitted it. They're like, oh yeah, we live across town. And I'm like,
that'd be like that'd be like me here in the next county over fussing about it.
But yeah, that's the funny part is like I know it's not, but some of the points being brought up against NASCAR, it feels like a racing fan who is trying to poison the well for the anti-racing side, because the arguments are grasping at straws. They're rebranding.
Is it your burner? Is this your burner, Jarrett? Are you like talking to yourself on Twitter right now in an effort to stir up support?
Dude, I couldn't make up dumber points.
To make up, but it's real.
Like they claim there were 26,000 people at Bristol, and their source was Grok. Their source was Grok. The AI on X. Yeah. Grok said there were 26,000. Grok's source was from like a parody account.
Oh, lovely.
Rock, is this true?
Wait, Grok, can you confirm that Grok said that? Yeah, well, that's interesting. Well, I know there's a lot of fans in the Tennessee area, many in the Nashville area that watch and listen to this show that I'm sure still eagerly anticipating what may or may not happen over at that racetrack. Good stuff. Appreciate the update. I think it's time to have some fun, folks. We're to that time of the show. Our fun segments. We're making decent time. We're doing okay. We're doing all right. Let's start with our accountability session. Christopher was not having much fun Sunday. Hopefully, weekend's a little better for our boy Bell. Accountability session. This is where we also make our predictions each week. Let's hold ourselves accountable first. I am on fire. I predicted that Larson would lead the most laps at Bristol.
Mine's going to be awful.
In hindsight, that maybe was a layup because he has led the most laps here a few times in recent years, but I'll take it. Who's next? Jarrett, 1 for 2, not bad. Said the Bristol Spring Race will not be a tire lottery. You were correct there. Bristol Spring would be up in viewership. Nope, more folks tuned in to see Rory, unfortunately.
God forbid I expect the bare minimum.
Yeah. Oh, Daniel, geez, wow. All right. Hey, well, you correctly said
you're owing me a corrected one on here. By the way,
I already corrected it in the percentages. Okay. We didn't have enough room with all the other ones to fit it on.
So for those who don't want to know what the corrected one is, we had preemptively counted one of Bowman returning by Bristol wrong when it was originally announced that Allgaier would be in the 48 until Bristol, and then that one was proven to be correct, actually.
Danny defending his honor.
I am dying at these first two. I know these were made like months apart, but I'm dying that they just contradict each other. Well, your big prediction that Gibbs wins his first race here before the Coke 600, that ended up being right. But you at some point also predicted he would not win a race this year, so that's wrong.
I must have said that last year. I don't know.
No, you said it in
Probably.
the first episode, I think, of this
Oh,
year.
okay. Well, I got on the hype train after bashing him.
Danny, I take back all the kind things about your predictions. What is happening on this slide?
I don't know.
Got one wrong about Fox's ratings. Said Dale Jr. finished top 10. I think he finished 11th or 12th. We were watching this the other night on like at dinner or whatever, and it was tough. Toyota will lead the most laps at Bristol. They did not. And he said that Glenn Jacobs, who was the Grand Marshal, would say "Go Vols." I think you said, Danny. He said it later on, but not at the.
No, he did not say that. We were all around this one.
Oh, Bubba
Michael Waltrip was doing the grid walk, talking to Bubba Wallace and Glenn Jacobs at the same time. And then Michael Waltrip said something along the lines of, "I didn't know there was a county mayor." And then Bubba said, "Yeah, Knox County, home Knoxville, go Vols." So it's like we were real close to it.
Very close, adjacent on that one. Man, my season's prediction percentage is great, 64%. Jarrett solid at 45. Danny 33.33%. All time though, Jarrett's still holding strong. I'm in second though, comfortably into second now. Danny in third. Still very close, very tight, very close. All right, we got
same percentage.
We each have new predictions this week. As always, we make 2 predictions each. We'll go one at a time. Who goes first? Do I go first? Yes. I'll start with this one. ARCA is racing this weekend. We aren't going to talk too much about the ARCA race. This is the main ARCA race. So you got all the good cars. It's a big track, 1.5 miles, Kansas. But I predict Cletus McFarland will finish 8th or better.
So my first prediction, I kind of hinted it to you, Eric, before the show. I had said it would be controversial 10 years ago.
Okay.
And maybe it might piss off some Kyle Busch fans now, and they'll call me a salty Earnhardt fan.
Uh-oh.
Kyle Busch's longest winless streak of his Cup career will be longer than Dale Jr.'s, which is 143. Kyle is at 101. I don't think Kyle wins in the next 42 starts.
That's a good. I mean, I'm not.
They're going to call me.
I hope you're wrong, but that's a good prediction.
They're going to call me a salty Earnhardt fan. I know that, but I have no confidence in. I'm not even going to call him Rowdy or even KFB. Like this is just like midi.
That's a good prediction. That's good fodder for this segment. Danny, what's your first prediction?
Corey Heim will finish in the top 10 on Sunday.
Oh, in the Cup race. Oh yeah. Okay, I like it. Grant, what about you? What's your first one?
Give me top 2 in the Xfinity Championship by the end of the year. Justin Allgaier, Corey Day.
Ooh,
I like it.
Do you want to go in a specific order?
I don't want to go in a specific order. I just want those 2 in the top
we can make that off the record.
I like that. Doubling down on his Corey Day take. I like it. All right, second prediction. This one's a little meta. Bear with me here. I wanted to make the NBA playoffs are starting. My Rockets are playing my arch rival Lakers, shorthanded Lakers. First game is Saturday night. I'll be flipping between. I'll probably have 2 screens up. O'Reilly race on one, Rockets Lakers on the other. I predict Joe Gibbs Racing, this is complicated, bear with me, Jared. Joe Gibbs Racing will lead more laps Saturday in the O'Reilly race than the Lakers will score points in game 1 against my Rockets.
Is LeBron's son still on the Lakers?
I actually do not know. I don't think he's in the rotation, but maybe.
And that answers my question. Is he still ass?
He's good in the G League.
Is he dookie?
In the G League, he's good. I don't think he's much of an NBA player. But basically, yeah, so the Lakers will probably score like 100, 110 points. So I'm predicting JGR cars combined will lead more than 110 laps. Let's hope the Lakers don't put 150 or something. Then I'm screwed on both cases.
Okay. I just wonder if my boy Dalton Connect's still there at the Lakers.
So my next one's going to be one I'm going to follow day over day. But I'm going to say Toyota leads the most total laps of the Kansas weekend. So add for the top 2 series. I'm not counting ARCA because
sure,
that might be cheating. I'm going to go with Toyota combined. So if it ends up being like 500 laps they'll lead the most of the OEMs.
Okay.
My next one, Tyler Reddick will be a cover athlete of the next NASCAR video game.
Oh, I like that one.
Not saying he'll be the cover athlete because they
He'll be
might
on
put
the
more
cover.
one, but he will be a cover athlete.
So
I
off
like
the
it.
record of the prediction, do you think somehow they sneak Michael Jordan onto the cover with him?
Oh, that would be nice. Probably definitely like at least like a celebration or something like that. You know,
Like
like a light color.
Something that like some like normie that doesn't know NASCAR is like, oh, Michael Jordan. You know, just noticeable enough.
Could be.
Yeah, if Reddick's on there, at least Michael Jordan celebrating like at the 500. That makes a lot of sense.
Watch. They have the picture of Reddick and Jordan holding up the Harley J. Earl Trophy, and it's like MJ ends up being bigger on the cover than Reddick.
I mean, that would
He
make
would
a lot
be.
of sense.
All right, Grant, what's your last prediction?
Well, this gets real awkward now because I'm going to go with Reddick will not finish inside the top 3 in the final standings.
Ooh, late
So you're
season
thinking
collapse?
a collapse in the you're thinking a collapse in the chase.
A little bit.
Man.
Cool down.
All right. I
Respect.
these are good. This is a good prediction segment this week. Some very different, very thoughtful takes here. We'll keep track every week. And Grant, next time you're on the show, we'll check in on how you did with your all guy or day prediction for sure.
Darn right we will.
Sure. Now it's time for our other fun segment. Before we get in our Kansas preview, it's time for Random Driver of the Week. Grant, I'm pretty sure you've played this with us. I'm not certain.
Yeah.
Jared gives us clues.
What's your record?
3.
We're over.
Jared, I'll let you tee us off here.
I thought he got one. Maybe
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off on that one. But yeah, so hide the chat.
Oh yeah, got it. Can't look at the chat. Scout's honor.
So last week Eric sniped it early with David Starr.
For like the
So
fourth time this year, he's got in the first clue.
We're gonna make a compilation of that. So he leads 39-38. He also got Tony Stewart and Brad Sweet in the last 5. Danny, you have one of those with Nelson PK Jr. And then I got y'all stumped on Speedy Thompson.
Tough.
Random cars in the Cars universe.
All right. This random driver is a native of Wausau, Wisconsin.
I don't think I know it, but
Go
if I
for
do,
it.
I'm not doing it. I'm not
Come
doing
on.
it.
Come
Give
on.
us another.
Do it for the meme.
I'm not doing it. I don't want to ruin the. If there's a chance I'm right, I'm not ruining the chat. So give us another.
That
clue.
is on my mind. I thought we did him already.
This random driver is 4th all time in career cup starts, like most starts.
Oh, that's not who I was thinking. Never mind then. Glad I didn't guess it. I would have embarrassed myself.
This random driver holds the record for most Daytona 500 starts at 33.
Wow.
Like making sure the chat. Damn, they already got it. Wow. This random driver holds the record for most consecutive Daytona 500 starts at 32.
Dave Marcus.
Dave Marcus.
Correct.
Wow, Danny, that was fat. That was quick.
Yeah,
well played.
I remember the stat of him making a ton of starts.
That's a good
job.
Pull. Well played. And Chad got it quick too. Good job.
There was a lot of Daytona 500 ones, by the way. His first race was the 1968 Daytona 500. His last one was the 2002 Daytona 500.
But I don't think I realized that he was from Wisconsin. Is Wausau the same place Scott Wimmer's from?
I'd have to check.
I know he's from Wisconsin.
Don't know.
I'd have to check.
Because initially that's who came to my mind, but then all the consecutive starts made me think Marcus.
Damn, I gotta get better on these clues, man.
Yeah, wow. Well, we're making good time at least. Hey, Grant, you did win in the sense that I think we'll get done under 3 hours at this, right? Because sometimes random driver sometimes goes on really long.
Talking right now, we are not there yet.
We're almost there. Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
We are almost there. It's time now for our weekend preview. Let's talk Kansas Speedway. A couple notes real quick. We mentioned earlier, Corey Heim is in the Cup race in the 67. As far as the O'Reilly Series, the 88 will be William Byron this week. And the 1 is Carson Kvapil once again. Let's start with the O'Reilly Series race. The Kansas Lottery 300, Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern on the CW. It's a 200-lap race. 45, 45, 110 are the stage breakdowns. It's on the CW MRN. Brandon Jones is the defending race winner. Well, actually, this race was run in the fall last year, right? I don't think O'Reilly
did the last 4 years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think. Yeah, no, never mind.
Brandon Jones won last year. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Cup race is the Advent Health 400. It is a 267 lap race. 80, 85, 102 are the stage breakdowns. It starts at 2 o'clock Eastern, a little earlier, about an hour earlier than usual, 2 p.m. Eastern on Big Fox. This race was added to the Big Fox lineup. All our hemming and hawing about FS1 cable. This race is on Big Fox, and so is Talladega the week after. So Fox Sunday.
Totally not used to promote IndyCar, which is right after.
I honestly keep doing it. I'm happy if they would do that every week.
I'm cool with it.
Kyle Larson is the defending winner. Was this his last? Was this the track?
Yeah,
what was his
last win?
Yes, but it was slightly later in the year, so he's not at a full season winless streak yet, but he's getting pretty close. That's the Cup race. All right, let's look at the pick point. I know weather report. Actually, what's the weather look like, Danny? Sorry, jump scare. My bad. Jump the gun. Danny.
Eric saw it for a second. I can go back.
Sorry about that, Danny. What's the weather looking like?
Yeah, so our meteorologist friend of the show, Jeff Borick, he did send me his detailed forecast for this weekend. Kansas weekend forecast. We are in good shape for most of the weekend, but fan safety matters just as much as race day impacts. Friday practice and qualifying for the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series will be impacted by a vigorous area of showers and thunderstorms, with the potential of severe thunderstorms as a line of storms initiates in the vicinity of Kansas City. This is not related to what he has sent me, but I'm just checking like in that general area right now. Earlier today, they were actually under, they still are under like tornado watches, like just east of Kansas City area now. So that whole area is definitely one of those areas that when thunderstorms get going, you got to watch out for. Going back to that, this could bring the potential for damaging wind and quick QLCS Dixie style tornadoes. So kind of what I just said, meaning you're not typical twisters, photogenic supercells. This, along with frequent lightning and torrential rain, means that a safety plan will need to be acted on, and anyone in campers will need to be able to find quick shelter in a sturdy building if anything was to happen. When a warning is issued, act on it. Treat it as if one is coming right towards you. Lingering rain is possible through sunrise on Saturday, but the weekend becomes cool and beautiful otherwise. For Saturday and Sunday, expect chilly mornings in the upper 30s to lower 40s. Sunny skies prevail both days. Wind will be higher Saturday, but highs will reach the 50s. Sunday brings lighter winds and highs near 70.
Good deal. All right. Well, let's survive Friday, and Saturday, Sunday sound quite pleasant, if you ask me. All right, now it's time for the pick points. Damn it. What happened? Chat, you have taken the lead. This is not okay. Chat
Them
now
getting Zilish to win instead of Larson
that was
saves
big.
me from being the points leader.
Yeah, Danny and I are tied -2. Jarrett, though, in the basement, -11 points after this week.
I've got the
the only one that
tiebreaker on Eric because of my 5 total wins to your 2.
Yeah.
I stayed -11 and I still lost a spot.
Yeah, so it's tight up. Top 3 close.
Chet picks 5th.
Yeah, that does mean, I get second pick this week, though. Heck yeah. Oh, third pick. No, we have a guest. That's right. Third pick. Guest always picks first.
Oh, shoot. I probably didn't write down enough. Oh, no. I'm screwed.
Let's start then with Grant. You're going to lead us off with your O'Reilly Series win pick.
Okay.
Who do you got?
I really wanted to do it. Like the temptation for the Corey Day pick was so bad. But I mean, I'm going first. I can't do it. Give me Justin Allgaier. That's so boring, but he's the fastest car in intermediates this year, and he had the fastest
Have you
car at
looked at his
Kansas
average
last
finish
year.
at this track?
He had the fastest car here last year per optimal lap model, so I don't care. I didn't look.
All right. Well, I've actually nailed 2 of this guy's predictions correct when I predict him to win here. So I am gonna push my luck, and I'm gonna try and go 3 for 3 with Brandon Jones.
It's a solid pick. I honestly thought he was going to fall to me. I thought he was going to fall to me. I thought he'd be like everyone's 3rd, 4th pick. I feel like with who's left on the board, I feel like it'd be negligent for me to not take William Byron. So I think I'm going to take William Byron in the 88.
Snipe the chat.
Sorry, chat. Who do you got? Pivot. Well, Danny goes first, and then chat.
I go. So Brandon Jones in the last 4 races has the best average finish here. So that was my number 1, but Jarrett took him. So my next one is the next guy with the best average finish in the last 4 races. Shockingly, it's Sheldon Creed. So we're going to go Sheldon Creed this week.
He's had a good season this year. That's not a bad pick at all.
Guys, I'm making friends in the chat. They want Corey Day.
A lot of 17s in the chat. Chat, you're getting Corey Day. They think he might get his first career win.
They're like, listen to the stat man. Listen to him.
I've steered them wrong. This is bad.
Well, let's see. Everyone has another shot, though, because we've got the cup race on deck. Let's start with the suck pick, though. This one's not for points. We can pick whoever we want. We don't have to. We can all agree if we want. Jarrett, who's going to suck? Or Grant. Sorry, Grant.
No, Grant already gave his.
I already said Trackhouse. I already piled on, but I'm not done piling on, dang it.
Uh-oh.
I already talked about their pit crews being garbage. Their drivers aren't doing great either, honestly. I won't read off the stats. I want to commend them, actually. I wasn't going to do this before. We were just going to go to the speed, but since I have a second, they fixed their pit crew problem this year. Hey. The one car has the 15th fastest pit crew, and the other 2 cars are 16th or 18th and 19th, which is not bad. Now, if only they could have cars that weren't tractors, Kubotas, if you will. Carry on.
I think that I might add the chat is making a heavy push for Fox. I'm going to say Joey Logano. That Penske has, like, especially Logano, Cindric haven't been great. So, oh my God,
chat's getting real close between Fox and Blaney's pick
and Kyle Busch.
Both all valid choices, all very, very, very valid.
Can we start putting Kyle Busch in the corner with like the Custers and the Cody Wares of like just that's an obvious suck pick?
I'm not ready to go there yet. I can't do that, Kyle. It's not yet. I'll go Cindric. I like where you're thinking. Penske does not seem special here at this track type or at this track in particular. And Cindric, I don't know. I think he'll be outside the top 20.
Danny. I like that Cindric pick. His average finish here has been bad. Someone has been just as bad, despite it seeming like a track he should be fine at. And he's had some good runs this year. I'm gonna have to put Hocevar down as my suck pick for this one.
He'll probably be fast. He'll be fast, but
maybe fast. But I mean, 4 races in, his average finish is like 27. So I mean, I can't lie. He doesn't get it done here.
Chat, yeah, we'll just give them all of the above. We can move on to dark horse.
Are we going to do that? We're going to give them 3 suck picks.
I mean, this isn't for points. Give them Fox. They seem to agree it's going to be Fox who sucks.
I'm going to put Fox, 12 crew,
and Kyle Busch.
And then what was that one that they put in there instead of Rowdy? It was just like Midi or something.
It was mild thing.
I'll put that.
I saw that earlier.
I saw the people in the chat are like, you're kind of enjoying this too much. I'm just going along with y'all. I'm feeding off your energy.
Dark horse pick. Now we can be a little more positive. Jarrett, who you got?
Well, Grant.
I'm sorry, Grant. I keep starting with Jarrett.
It's all good.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I feel a little cheap about this one. I don't even know if it counts as a dark horse, but give me Chris Buescher.
No, I'd still count it.
Seventh fastest car on intermediate tracks this year. Last year's 6th fastest car at Kansas in the fall. Sneaky good here. I mean, yes, he's lost that photo finish, and everybody remembers that, but like that's not an outlier. This team's pretty good on intermediate tracks.
I'll say for a top 20, I'll go SVG just out of probably attrition.
He sniped me. I had a big reveal plan.
I'm gonna fly right in the face of all of the propaganda that Grant is pushing out.
I really hope it works out for you, but I have no faith.
He's the best Trackhouse driver this year.
I mean, that was what I was gonna say. Is I agree with that. I mean, Trackhouse isn't doing great right now, but SVG did finish 10th here last year, and the only other race this season with this package, this track type, was Las Vegas. And Shane, remember, spun out almost on lap 1. I think damaged his car and was never a factor. So he's a total wild card. So I was going to give him the benefit of the doubt and make Grant blush over there. But Jarrett beat me to the punch. So well played on that one. Danny, who's your underdog?
While Bristol did not give him the return that he had hoped for, Alex Bowman actually does have the 7th best average finish here since 2024. So I'll go with him to hopefully get a better reintroduction to NASCAR Cup Series racing this weekend at Kansas.
It's a good choice. And chat, I think they're going Heim.
I think Heim looks like what they want for underdog.
We'll give him Heim. It's not for points. This next one is, though, it's time to pick our winners for the Cup race at Kansas. Grant, I got it right this time. Grant, you lead us off. Who are you gonna steal? Who are you taking?
I fear not the jinx. Give me Denny Hamlin. Fastest long run speed car this year. Second fastest on the intermediate tracks this year. He had the fastest car here last year in the fall. It's kind of a layup as long as he doesn't shoot himself in the foot.
It's going to be a really easy weekend for me to keep track of because I'm just going to keep track of the 20 car in both races. Give me C-Bell.
Oh, I have a decision to make now because I was really split on 3 guys for this exact spot. I'm going to take Chase Briscoe. I was won over. My buddy Ryan pulled out some interesting numbers the other day when I was talking to him. He's like, hey, Chase Briscoe, if you look at conventional mile and a halves the last 2 years, Martin Truex Jr. has the best average running position in the series in that span. Granted, he only has run about half the races because he didn't race in 2025. And then last year in the 19, Briscoe had the best average finish. So the 19 at intermediate tracks has been really fast the past 2 years, apparently, or at least they're getting the results. So I like Chase Briscoe. Just finished top 5 at Bristol. I think I might have gotten those stats slightly wrong. I'd have to go back and check my notes. But I know he was able to point out how the 19 with 2 different drivers has been near the top at this track type in recent years. And so that won me over and has me thinking Chase Briscoe might shock some folks on Sunday. So I'll go Briscoe. Sorry, that was long-winded. Danny, who you got?
Guy I'm going with hasn't won here in a little bit. But at one time, he was one of 3 guys who got a win in this car, and the momentum has definitely been on his side this season. I'm going Tyler Reddick to get win number 6 of the season, and I will be 1 away from getting a prediction right, 7 before the chase.
I thought he had 4 so far.
Oh, wait, yeah, sorry. I'll be 2 away in need number 5.
He almost got it at Bristol this week.
Yeah,
I sort of got. I thought for a moment, I'm like, oh my God, Danny's a genius. He's either going to get Ty Gibbs or he's going to get Tyler Reddick.
I still think that this is very likely to happen to Reddick. There's still so many good tracks for him.
We just handed Larson
How did we
to the
give
chat.
the chat the 5?
What? I saw either he's going to dominate and lead 200 laps and win, or blow an engine on lap 5.
See, that's why I had Larson as my number 1. I pivoted to Reddick, and I'm thinking to myself, it's a reason he hasn't won since this race last year.
You had Larson at 1. He fell to you at 4, and you didn't take him?
I want to go up the Reddick train.
All right. Going with your gut. I get it.
I'm looking at our picks. So Grant just goes after the old guard of Allgaier and Hamlin. I go after the 20 car. Eric, you mixed it up a little bit. And
hell yeah.
Danny, I think you did too. And then chat has to follow the Hendrick cars. Like .com cars.
Well, gee, who's like glazing Hendrick these days, huh, chat?
That was fun. That was fun. Everyone, hope you enjoy Kansas this weekend. Before we get into our final super chat stage break, Grant, I want to give you the opportunity to shout out what you're working on. If there's any new stuff coming down the pipeline with auto racing analytics, we appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. So what's going on?
Thanks for having me. It's always a good time. I mentioned it briefly just a minute ago, but working on a study in my classes at college, actually taken some data science classes and got the opportunity to do a little bit of research into the peak age for Cup Series drivers in the next gen era. Probably going to either turn that into a video or some kind of like simplified paper that I can post. Maybe it'll go on YouTube. Maybe if it's a paper, it'll probably go on autoracinganalytics.com. Maybe mid-season sometime. So stay on the lookout for that. That won't be complete yet because honestly, there just isn't enough seasons worth of data to make any strong predictions. But It's definitely going to go lower. So go look at that. YouTube, I don't know if I'm going to do anything more with that in the near future. I said I was going to commit to doing a podcast every week, and that made it like 2 weeks. So we'll see. I don't know if any of that comes back or not, but keep an eye out for it. Maybe it will. The main place you can find me, I try to post on Twitter most every day of the week. Just a stat tidbit. It's AR_analytics. And if you appreciate my work there, you want to see me continue in this community, I'd appreciate your support on autoracinganalytics.com. I already mentioned you can try it for 1 month for $1. Code NWP26. You can see all the stats on there. If you want to message me on Twitter and talk about them, I'm always down for an interesting discussion on those. But yeah, create conversations with this stuff, because that's really what it's for. Is it's interesting stuff, and I like discussing it, and I think it generates some interesting conversations of like what drivers could do if they got in other cars and what the car versus the driver is. That's kind of the goal of auto racing analytics. But thanks y'all for having me, and I'll look forward to seeing it all in the fall.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate it. And I also just linked your X, your Twitter in the
Sweet.
in the chat. So
Thank you.
People, be sure to check that out. Give him a follow. You've probably seen his stuff pop up on your timeline from time to time, but for sure, we appreciate you being here, Grant. Let's get to our final super chat cool down lap. Where did we leave off? I believe we left off here with Steven Gibson saying Busch is in the spot Mark Martin was in 2007. Do we see a 2009 resurgence coming for Kyle Busch? Just time will tell.
Yeah.
Scott McNew says, great to see y'all. Might be a hot take, but I think Busch should leave Cup, take a full-time truck ride with Spire, and try to become the first driver to complete the championship trifecta. I think we talked about that a bit earlier. Yeah, Danny said it. I think it'll happen at some point. If it's next year, it's next year, but I think it'll be a few years from now. Another one from Steven says, Dover is the one that needs to go back to asphalt. That race had 500 laps when it had asphalt. I also feel the track would take rubber better again. Yeah, I mean, I just, at this point, concrete tracks are so temperamental. I'm sure there's a practical reason some tracks are concrete, but I'd prefer traditional pavement at this point. I feel like at least then the product is a little more predictable. Fred Dog 81, have we heard anything new on Adam Alexander? I hope he's okay. Nothing against the substitute, but the O'Reilly broadcast wasn't the same without him. I did think Dylan Welsh did a fine job substituting. And no, I do not think we know, at least I do not know what the situation is with Adam, but hope he and everyone is doing all right there for sure. Hope to have him back in the booth soon. Jeffrey King, Elliott has to improve. 23rd, 2nd, 15th, 1st, 22nd. Those are his last 5 finishes. I talked about that today. Very up and down. At least they have winning speed here and there, but it's here and there. It's not consistent. So still room to improve. They're in that top 5, top 6. What, like Jarrett said earlier, that kind of fringe championship contention mix, no doubt. Beast of Metal, thank you for the generous super chat. Says it's too bad there wasn't a major league that picked the bag up front over long-term exposure and suffered dearly for it for a decade and a half. NASCAR could have learned from it. I wonder why the NHL logo is waving at me. Hockey fans can fill us in. I know a little bit. I don't know the hockey situation quite as detailed.
Look at the MLS. Look at Formula One. I mean, you're seeing a lot of them.
Where are we? You hit Justin Drake. I feel like I have a few more before then. That one doesn't show up for me. Okay. Ever missed the Truck Series, Austin? No, Jamie. But I bet he's missing that NyQuil in his trailer so he doesn't have to listen to you anymore, Jamie. Good. If not, race.
Damn.
My God, the Fox podcast sucks. Dang, Justin. That one didn't show up for me. It's spicy as always.
Is next one for you, Mason?
Yes. Mason is next. Says Clint treats the broadcast like soapbox races with his jokes. Some of them land, some of them don't. Crest John says, what's worse, Ferrari pit strategy or Ryan Blaney's pit crew? I feel like Blaney's pit crew hasn't actually cost him that many races. Like, Phoenix, he was able to overcome the pit crew and still win, whereas I feel like Ferrari ends up losing a lot. Rowdy 8 Diecast is next. I've been a KB fan since 2009 when I was 9 years old. Never thought I'd see the day where I'm embarrassed to watch him race. I watch and go to races for my love of NASCAR as a sport at this point. I'm glad you're still able to find some enjoyment. I hope better days are in the near future. But yeah, it's just, man, did any of us see this coming when he got off to that hot start in 2023? I don't think so. I predicted he'd have 6 wins that year. I felt like a genius after that 3rd win. I was like, we're well on track. And then it all went to hell. It's fallen hard, sadly. Stephen Gibson, if the rumors of the clash to Daytona are true, I don't think they'll run the big track. Teams complain enough about 6 speedways. NASCAR has some temporary wallings from LA. What if they do the backstretch bull ring? Problem is, I don't think they got no backstretch grandstands. Yeah, I think those have been torn down, long gone.
But
so.
They have paved the areas out of turn 4 and into turn 1, so you might be able to do it there.
Just bite the bullet and run the big track. I
agree.
Jeffrey King says, hey, Ty Gibbs got some Colpern speed magic. Yeah, we didn't mention that, but Joe Gibbs a couple times post-race mentioned that Colpern casually seems to be doing some work at JGR. That is a difference maker for sure.
Yeah.
Indy Carson, good to see you. Hey, NWP, Bristol Part 1. Trucks. Finally, Chris Bell was rung instead of boring Heim time. O'Reilly. Zilich can have the win this time since Cup is awful for him so far in 2026. I love that Carson here has this vendetta against Zilich, but he's starting to feel bad for Connor, how Connor's been struggling.
He's coming around.
So.
I can't wait to see his opinion on Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, I want to do his part 2 real quick. Says, congrats to Ty on beating Blaney and Larson. Champions last 5 years. Happy for the Gibbs family. Now run 1 race at Bristol and make sure it's in August, not during the NFL season. And we'll see. The night race will be fun. Justin Drake says Fox waved that check in front of Chandler like, oh, you almost had it. You got to be quicker than that.
That's just cruel, man.
Just like that was a Geico commercial.
Yeah. Eric, I believe, is next. Yes. How do you think Allmendinger will do at Kansas? Is this the race last year he blew an engine at and was really mad, or was that Homestead I'm thinking of?
This is a Grant question. How do you think Allmendinger will do at Kansas?
He should have been somebody's underdog pick for sure.
Good to know. Well, that's encouraging. Vamboni Sports. Good day today. Got a lot of changes on my NASCAR analytics website. Made not as good as Grant's, but I like it, and I get to listen to NWP on the Zamboni. Glad you're having fun on the Zamboni. Vamboni Sports. Appreciate you tuning in. Mom, thanks for the super chat. Mom 9098. I enjoyed meeting you last year. I'm not going to make the spring race at Kansas, but I wondered if you and Brennan are doing a live podcast this weekend. We are not. I will not be at Kansas this week, and I am planning to be there for the fall race come chase time. But hopefully Brennan and I are able to do some more live shows later this year. I'm still reeling from my dramatic pizza cook-off defeat at Daytona in February. That was very unfortunate. Where are we at here? A few more from Indy Carson. Hey, Iceberg, thanks for all your mom does in the medical field. Sorry she lost, but I hope it showed how much we fans care about you and your family. Are the results in, Jarrett?
They wouldn't give the full results, but she didn't win, unfortunately.
But I know she was in the top 10 late. That's a shame.
She was like, before the big surge we had, was up to 8th. So she was right there.
We're just going to say she's second then, since we don't know the full result. She's second. Congratulations.
Well, yeah. But the second doesn't get anything. But I appreciate it, and she appreciated it a ton, everybody. So thank you, everybody that voted.
Yeah, it was cool to see the support. Shame it didn't get all the way there, but Indy Carson continues. Have fun in Kansas, whoever's going. I like that what NASCAR is doing for Dega. It never hurts to try something different to improve the racing on bigger tracks. For sure. Hopefully it makes difference. Then adds, I think the Clash should not go back to Daytona. NASCAR should return Clash at Daytona and All-Star Race at Charlotte on their 80th anniversary in 2028, including the 70th Daytona 500. Likes his round numbers, Carson does.
We're 2 years away from the 80th? I thought it just feels like we were just in the 75th.
80's not really a big, it is a milestone, but it's not as celebrated.
Knock on wood here, like we are going to be seeing the 100th anniversary of NASCAR in our 50s?
40s, 50s. I think that's appropriate to say Unk still got it when we're in our 50s, not when we're like in our early 20s.
Yeah.
Fred Dog 81. How many races until Busch gets punched out by his crew chief? Don't forget to post your weekly Fs in honor of that crybaby bum has been loser. Wow.
Oh God.
And with the profile picture of him getting decked there.
Yeah, man, Fred Dog, not a Kyle Busch fan. Sorry that Busch fans had to see that. Next one's from Nick. Speaking of the 2020 Roval race, that was the last race I ever watched with my grandpa before he passed. He had been following the sport since the early 60s. He was blown away cars could race in that. That's, I mean, first off, very sorry for your loss, but that is pretty remarkable that he got to see the early days of NASCAR ultimately culminate in them racing through a monsoon. That had to be like kind of surreal for someone who'd been watching the sport for decades like that. That I can't imagine. Justin Drake, thank you for the generous super chat. I mean, who's he? I feel like he's going to take a shot at someone here. He usually does. Fun fact, for the first time since 97, Hickory is getting a much needed repave. If the owners are spending money on the facility, how would you feel about trucks going there? He didn't take a shot at anyone. Wow. Not a spicy Justin post. Hickory for trucks. What do you think?
Not as not as unrealistic as people might think. That's all I'll say.
I've not been to Hickory, but is it a decent enough facility? I mean, trucks have
I
raced
haven't either. I'm just say it might not be unrealistic. Same with like maybe
there's enough people in the industry that like that track.
And
that is true.
Another thing that might be an interesting truck kernel to remember is that Bowman Gray has a deal to run any national series through 2030, and if they're not the Clash, they're not going to be a points race. Maybe it'll be an all-star race, but then we don't know with Dover. But could be a truck race. I'm just saying, there's a few things that are being swirled around here.
Won't say who it is. We know someone who got a job of one of them places here recently. So
Go Snake Man, back-to-back super chats here, says reduce the restrictor plate and up the speed for super speedway. Super speedway tracks need to age a little bit. No more repaving. Agreed there. And then adds, I'm a professional Class A driver. Can I try out O'Reilly and trucks? Can I get an opportunity to drive? JK, LOL. I wouldn't mind being a hauler driver. I hear they always need hauler drivers. So yeah, but send your resume to Mooresville and someone will maybe pick it up. Jonah, thanks for the 5. Grok, tell me how many people were at Bristol and put Marcus Smith to bikini. That's funny, Jonah. Good Grok. Next from Flying Cactus, my prediction: Retzlaff will win his first race at a super speedway later this year. He's got the Retzlaff profile picture. That's not a bad prediction.
I could see him winning Talladega.
If he won Talladega, would that points wise, you guys think, would that like ensure him to make the chase at that point? He's already 55 up.
Consistency, I would think.
That's what I'm saying. He's 55 points up. He has 4 top 10s already. If he got a win, I mean, he'd have to be around 80 above the cut line or so. Like,
I think he's going to make it regardless. Honestly, I really do.
I won't go down this rabbit hole fully, but I almost made this one of my predictions. I think I wasn't confident enough in it to make it the prediction, but I think he could win an O'Reilly short track race. Not just a speedway race, but I think there's potential there. He's got the second best lap time consistency on short tracks, which is pretty impressive. So
I keep saying if Jesse Love moves up away from RCR, I wouldn't mind seeing him be a candidate to go take the RCR too. I really wonder what he could do in a better car.
Mitchell, it's next up. Generous super chat. Appreciate that, Mitchell. I get the history and appeal and history of the Clash going back to Daytona, but as someone not close to the Southeast, I hope we don't lose the option to go to new markets and try fun things with little to no stakes. That's what I said earlier. I feel like you either got to promote Daytona, commit to that, or you got to go do something crazy. And I love Bowman Gray. I think it could be a great all-star race venue. I don't think that's crazy enough for this kind of an exhibition slot. So I don't know where Mitchell lives or where they're based out, but maybe we could race in their backyard at some point in the Clash, but we'll see. Next up, we're in the final few here, folks. From C. Batha, I guess we might get GTA 6 before a good Blaney pit stop.
I saw that. That's why I was laughing.
Then from Justin Drake, the Busch 2023 to 2026 theme song, Wild Thing parody. Mild Thing, you make my heart sink. You make everything gloomy. Come on, Mild Thing. Wow, you have such a way with words.
I'm not going to blame Kyle Busch fans at all if he gets a win at some point of just rubbing it in everybody's faces, because honestly, they'll deserve to do so.
He's back. No, they can celebrate that. They can shout that one from the rooftops if
Kyle Busch
happens.
Kyle Busch would not.
I'm sure they will.
He has bookmarks that are a mile long with people.
Yeah. Final 4 here. Triple P Productions. Clash back to the Daytona road course. Multi-class race. Chase drivers from all 3 national series. I mean, that sounds super fun. I don't know if it's feasible. So, yeah, but we can fantasize. Crash Travels, out of curiosity, do you guys notice increases/decreases in your YouTube views in line with NASCAR TV ratings, or is it completely independent? Good question.
So it depends, honestly. Video wise, I've found it's, unless it's a huge drop, it's pretty consistent. For me, it's streams. Like when I do post race streams, that's way more temperamental generally. Like if it's gonna be a big Fox like this week, probably be more people. But it can swing. Other times though, it just depends on what you're talking about too.
I don't know about specific races / how they relate to ratings and stuff, but I know Eric, you might have kind of even said something before we got started. There's certain drivers that kind of don't push the needle for stuff. So if a driver like that was to win, does it kind of impact Out of the Groove a little bit?
I think Out of the Groove is more like my post-race show is more dictated by just how good the race was. Like, I feel like my show and probably your streams, Jared, are largely speaking to hardcore fans who watch most weeks, regardless of what network it's on or what the ratings are. So that's why I don't see a lot of fluctuation. It's more fluctuates based on, hey, was it an exciting race? Was it a controversial race? You know, and I think that tends to drive viewership. I will say, I think this week's post-race Out of the Groove was my lowest viewed of the year, which is why, to Danny's point, I made the comment before the show. Ty Gibbs does not move the needle unless he's doing something dumb. So that is what I've seen on social media.
So I don't know. I have my numbers on me, but that's what surprised me. Is like my post-race concurrent, like it didn't show up on the public end from like what my dad was saying and other people were saying, but like it hit about in a little under or at the 1,000 mark in my analytics. And I was surprised because I'm like, damn, you know, like of concurrent, like, because it wasn't the lowest one this year. I think the lowest one I had was it Vegas or Coda? I'm not sure which one it was, but it wasn't the lowest, and that surprised me. But yeah, I think that's more of what it is. Unless the only time there's a huge swing is if it's something big like the Daytona 500 or like a rain out, then it can affect it sometimes. But it's more exciting race, finish, stuff like that. If it's a boring ass race, but a bunch of people watch, they're not really gonna seek out stuff afterwards. But if it's like a 2024 Kansas, everybody wants to talk about it, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. So I slightly maybe, but I don't think it's really dictated by ratings. It's more by actually what's the quality of the content. Is there stuff going on? Is there stuff to talk about? That more drives it. Final few here. We're getting there. Fred Dog says the body's still warm, kicking violently. Oh, goodness gracious.
Damn.
Ghost Snake Man says I vote for Rockingham as an all-star race. I could see that down the line being realistic. Calypso says say hello to the manager of ECR's engine program. Wahaha. Someone's to blame. And finally, from Seabatha, Grandpa, can you give me the 19 car and setup? That is kind of how it's felt. Briscoe's been a little rocky. Whereas
you got one more.
I give really sad. Oh, and there's our buddy Jensen coming in right at the wire here. Says just found out during the podcast that my friends and I will be flying out to Vegas. We just got tickets to the fall race. Any recommendations? First NASCAR race we'll be seeing in person. Aloha. Aloha to you, Jensen. That's going to be a long flight, but I think it will be worth it. You get to see a chase race. There's a lot of wild and wacky things to do in Vegas. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what do I do? If I'm planning to go to the fall race and I need to look into it, I might get tickets to see Metallica in the Sphere. They're playing that weekend.
That's right.
Tickets are quite expensive, but it might be worth it to see one of the big boys.
Wherever I may roam.
So maybe you can join me there. Come to the Sphere and see Metallica Thursday or Friday night, whatever it is before the race.
Maybe you could also look into like the Saturday before if you didn't want to go to just races. Like maybe go see, I think UNLV college football plays out there where the Raiders play or something like that. I don't know. There could be some other things to do while you're out there.
The Raiders do have a nice looking stadium. There's a lot of stuff to do in Vegas. I just, careful out on the strip, a lot of
explore the sewer system. They have a whole community down there. There's like literally an entire community down there. I think Vice did a documentary on it when they were still good.
I'm not too interested in exploring the sewers of Las Vegas.
I'm just saying it's interesting if you look into it.
All right, we're at the end. Justin Drake, mild thing. You make my heart sink. You make the podium a dream. Eric and Raid. Eric Andre.
I keep thinking like the Eric Andre.
Eric Andre, yeah.
Eric
kind of disappointment kind of disappointed those fans didn't scream "Grandpa" in the front stretch when Ty won.
It was a good moment.
Did you guys
Yeah,
see
he didn't want
Michael
to-
Roots got blocked by Ty Gibbs?
Yeah, I did see that.
And finally, Crest John, under 3 hours. Yes, we are done.
You did
under
it.
2.5 hours.
Wow.
Grant, we appreciate you
Even with
sticking
the
it out
bonus
with us.
super
Good to
chat
see y'all.
coming in.
No, please don't. We're good. Thank you all for watching. We do appreciate the super chats. Very generous. It helps keep the show going week in, week out, all year long. Appreciate y'all hanging out tonight. This was a fun show. Covered a lot of ground. Grant, you brought the numbers, you brought the data, you brought the insight that us jokers don't usually provide on our own. So we appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Enjoy Kansas Speedway this weekend. We'll be back in 1 week, April 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Iceberg. Have a great weekend, folks. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you then. Take care, y'all.
Drivers, start your engines!
Be plenty of carnage, so full head on them, wound up. Yeehaw, boys. Holy. It's a junkyard.
There's too much time hitting people. Chill a second. No gas, gotta hang tough here. Going overdrive. Just let me do my job.
10 times. I don't care if I wreck the whole field. I'm over him. He's just a moron. That was an absolute bull. Not clear. Awesome. I tell you, Mama ain't raising no.
What the fuck are you doing out here? People are saying, just racing like idiots.
I don't care. Just let me drive.
What is he doing?
This is embarrassing. What a clown show. Did you ever think you would see that?